you gonna backtrack? And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's me though, how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give me something you can talk about.
I never know when that's gonna actually turn off. Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine Wednesday, July 30th? I'm doing quite well. Okay, so I couldn't decide today if I wanted to do a live stream about Demoree Hadley updates or if I wanted to do updates with the Epstein Maxwell stuff. As you could tell, obviously, I did decide to do Demoree Hadley updates. But I did find like over 1,200 pages worth of stuff from the Epstein and Maxwell files that's like technically like unsealed, but it was like unsealed after the trials and stuff happened. Or like during them. It was like after the commencement of them. One is from criminal, one is from a civil case, and there might even be more stuff. I was gonna either read that. Thank you for shout out to Leroy Truth in the house. Thank you, loving the curls, y'all. I did a roller set, and I looked like basically like the little lad, from the Berries and Cream. I imagine him with like this curly hair, but actually he had straight hair. Anyway, I said I tried a roller set, and I look like a founding father. But yeah, I kind of like brushed it out a little. I don't know, girl. It's like I don't know. Thank you. Okay, so y'all are funny. Thank you. Okay, so today I decided to do the Demoree Hadley updates, and maybe I'll do the Epstein Maxwell stuff like tomorrow or the next day or something. But the reason that I decided to do this one today is because there was a hearing yesterday. Now, there are now a few different like lawsuit type things going on. There's now like a few different things going on. The first lawsuit that came on my radar was really the Demoree versus Desiree. So like the daughter versus the mother, who is the is the CEO of ROC Nation. You know, she has several kids apparently, but one of the kids is suing her. That's Demoree, and I did interview Demoree. Well, there's also another whole entire case going on with Javon Hadley, who is Demoree's husband. And that one has to do with Desiree and Javon. And then there is another lawsuit type thing going on with Demoree. And that has to do with a lawyer from the law firm by the name of Reed Smith. And this lawyer's name is Laura Gatz. Okay, I think it's Gatz. Now, this Laura Gatz, she's the one where if somebody were to post her picture, all of a sudden Reed Smith is filing copyright claims to, you can't even use her bio picture, girl. You can't even use her bio picture, or else they're going to try and take down your video. Now, it's kind of interesting to me, like all the different email addresses and stuff that are being used to take people's stuff down, like these DMCA strikes. Again, I've already made it known before, like I'm not even exactly really sure if it is all being done by Reed Smith and this team, or if it's just trolls that are like trying to like basically bait people into making allegations about Reed Smith, et cetera, et cetera. Shout out to Chrissy, number 80 on the like button. Shout out to Lady Pamela, number 99. Shout out to Ashley, number 105. Okay, so then there was a hearing yesterday. So what was the hearing for yesterday? That one was for where's my pen? It's like I can't focus if I don't have my pen. This isn't it. This is a lip liner. Okay, I'll do this one. Hold on. It's like I have to have something in my hand to wave around. Shout out to Brittany Cooks. Love your roll there. Yeah, I had the sponge rollers, y'all. I was back at church camp. The flashbacks dealing with the sponge rollers. If you know, you know. Thank you so much. Okay, so yesterday there was a hearing. What was the hearing in? It was in the case where Laura Gatz, this like lawyer from Reed Smith, is trying to get a restraining order against Demoree. And essentially this Laura Gatz woman has said that Demoree is like a violent, deranged, lunatic criminal sociopath or something. And it's like attached to Laura Gatz's attempt at a restraining order is like all these allegations and all these different tweets and stuff. And he's Leroy, you are funny. Did y'all see my interview with Leroy Truth Investigations? I put it up this weekend from the Long Island audit. So from the Long Island audit arraignment. So yesterday there was like a hearing of sorts in that restraining order thing where a lawyer is trying to get a restraining order against someone who she's representing clients against. Okay. I'm sure it's not unheard of. I'm sure it's like happened before. I'm sure people have actually been stalked and stuff before. But like, I mean, I'm not seeing it. It looks to me like, and to me, I don't know. I'm not the judge. Thank God. Thank God. I used to think I wanted to be a judge. I do not. I do not want to be a judge. No, I do not. So, to me, it just looks like an attempt to silence Demoree. I mean, I can even understand Laura not wanting to be talked about. Don't represent celebrities. You know, if you're gonna insert yourself and willingly inject yourself into high profile cases, then there's a certain amount of people are going to say stuff about you that comes along with that, especially whenever you are actively representing the people who are at odds with that person. You know what I mean? So, they had a hearing yesterday, and I want to pull up this Twitter account because shout out to them. They went to the hearing yesterday. Now, that's not the only thing that happened. There are other updates. There's actually been witness lists filed in the Demoree versus Desiree case. Spoiler alert, it's not a whole bunch of stuff. You know, the Demoree is just her and her husband. And then the only one kind of like, and we'll go over these documents. I'm going to pull them up, but I just don't want y'all to have to like be sitting here waiting for like nothing. Hold on. As you are right now. I don't want y'all to be sitting here waiting if you're just wondering. I mean, there's one person on the Desiree Rock Nation side of things who does appear, he does kind of like spark my interest. Alistair Thomas from something Guidepost or Guidepoint Solutions. Alistair Thomas or Thompson. We'll look at it. But other than that, nothing really jumped out to me about these witness lists, and these are both due tomorrow. So regathering our thoughts, that was just to let y'all know we're going to be covering a few different topics related to the like Demoree, Desiree, Rock Nation universe in this live stream today. But we're going to be starting with the hearing yesterday, which was between Laura Gatz, who she's trying to get a restraining order against Demoree for cyber harassment or stalking or something. It just doesn't seem to fit to me. It seems like a silencing attempt to me. However, that being said, please no one go and contact anyone mentioned in this video because you do see how these people do act. You can't even make a tweet. You can't even make a freaking comment because not only will they use all the words that you said against you, but they will twist. They will twist and make it look like you said something you definitely did not and would never say. So that being said, I always tell people in my chats, always tell people on my channel, 420 in the chat, shout out to 420 in the chat. I always tell people on this channel, don't even go say nothing nice. Okay. Before you even, thank you, Monica. Before you even, comment in my chat over here, you gotta, that's aggravating me. You got to agree to those rules. So I'm about to tuck it. Behind my ear, y'all. Okay. So let me go to this Twitter account. I'll make sure I'm my personal. Ooh, child. All right. Okay. So I love this account, this Twitter account. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I know the Barbz. Y'all don't come for me, please, Barbz. Honestly, I come in peace. I don't know all the terminology and everything. Okay. I don't know if this is some type of inside joke. I don't know if I'm supposed to know how to say that. Is it Vegeta? Vegeta? I'm gonna say Vegeta. I really don't know. Okay, so oh, this is new. Okay, wait, hold on, everybody. Breaking news. Ha! Breaking news as of like about 20 minutes ago. There's another new account on the loose. Well, it's not new, but this account right here has been really heating up. You remember the Diddy docket? This is kind of like a Demoree. It's called the Demoree docket. And this live stream is supposed to be a little bit, go with the flow, as it were. I don't really want to be trying to make it too like organized and straightforward. This is just my thoughts, my opinions, and some updates. But let's jump here. This is breaking news from the account that I was about to go to anyway. The Demoree docket last night, Rock Nation. Let's just go here. Well, when I'm live, like everything just I want to do the show more option. Okay, that's not letting me show more. Here, what if I click this? Okay, here we go. Please share. This is posted 19 minutes ago, but then we're going to read this is a quote tweet, but then we're going to read the real tweet after this too. Okay, so sorry if you have other questions. Been very busy morning. I'll be able to tell you more later. Right now, if you can support this post, that would be great. Want to let people know there's a hearing in person. If anyone or any media wants to cover it, they are invited. Okay. So I won't be going. I won't be in attendance. I'm on a different coast, but apparently this is a public tweet I'm reading here. And I know that if anybody goes over there from, learning about it from over on this channel, that y'all are going to know how to act. And I'm not going to have to worry about, somebody being like, oh, I'm here because that surprise witness said, come over here. And, you have to like, you got to represent. That's what my dad used to say, like before we would get out the car, we going to church, we going into the funeral, we going into the hub and supermarkets, like you got to represent. Okay. So I do hesitate to like advertise public events and stuff just because everything always gets blamed on me, even though I didn't do anything wrong. But this is, if y'all want to go, all the disclaimers out of the way and all that, please share. Want to let people know there's a hearing in person tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the C. Clyde Atkins United States Courthouse, 11th floor. Okay, so this is Miami. So we have a breaking news from the Demoree docket. Last night, Roc Nation and Desiree Perez filed an emergency filing regarding the federal case, including an attempt to hold both Javon and Demoree in contempt of court tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Florida, there is an open to the public hearing. The address is below. If anyone would like to attend as an observer in the audience, this is your public right. But acting a fool is not. So nobody go over there acting a fool, okay? And if you see anybody over there acting a fool, say, that surprise witness would not be proud of you acting a fool right now. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because here's the reason I have like an extra interest in making sure y'all don't, because I get blamed for stuff. They're already using my tweets and my what's it called? Reply comments from Instagram to act like I'm inciting violence on these things. I already see where they're trying to go. This ain't my first rodeo. It might have been born at night. It wasn't last night. So don't go over there and act crazy. I'm serious, y'all. Roc Nation has submitted 2 expert witnesses, a software engineer who works at Meta, and another one from Guidepost Solutions. Oh, so this is those witness lists. He says, who says they are comprised of past federal and state agencies. So something else interesting happened too now that I'm reading this. Rymir Satterthwaite, the one who says that Jay-Z, the one looked just like Jay-Z, and he says that Jay-Z's probably his dad and he wants the paternity test. He tweeted earlier today, the feds are working with them. So I don't know if he was supposed to tweet that. I don't know if he was permitted, to tweet that, but there's like always this like looming like dark cloud of Fed activity, like spooks and informants, just kind of looming all around this lately. So, okay, so this motion is regarding the Tasha K collaborator post. Okay, I know exactly what that is. I'll explain that to y'all in a moment. The morning Tasha posted a clip from her interview with Demoree, She added Demoree as a collaborator around 5 in the morning. It was briefly on Demoree's Instagram profile until she saw it and removed it. This was out of her control and not even something she was expecting. She didn't post anything and did everything right to remove and notify Tasha K to not tag her as a collaborator at all. In my opinion, this is a reaction to the win we had yesterday. Okay, so we were originally coming over here to talk about that, the win they had yesterday, but then we had this kind of breaking news, which isn't actually as breaking as I thought, other than the fact that there is a time set now for the hearing tomorrow. It's 2 p.m. It's going to be going on. And if y'all are in Miami, you can go. And if anybody does go, if anybody does go and acts right, and you're over there just to inform the people, oh my God, girl, please, I can't handle it. Get back there. If anybody does go, and wants to, come on my platform afterward to spread the word of what happened, or if you want to just send me some notes or whatever, I will be happy to read them. Otherwise, I'm going to be, just on Twitter like y'all, reading what happened in there. Also, if anybody that went yesterday to the court on Zoom or in person who knows how to get me, I know I have Monica helping me work on this project as well. So maybe y'all can tell Monica in the chat or just email me, ThatSurpriseWitness@gmail.com. Was there, yes or no, a court reporter there yesterday? Because I heard on the spaces that there was a court reporter there yesterday. If there was, I'm going to order the transcript because I want to know what all was said yesterday in the hearing. And again, y'all, we're talking about technically 2 separate court cases. Okay, so we are jumping back and forth. This is just a stream of consciousness live stream reaction thing. But like this tweet that I have up right now, this is in the federal case, in the like main one that we would have all heard about or whatever, the Demoree Hadley versus Desiree Perez et al., Roc Nation, all them. Okay, so tomorrow there's a hearing, 2 p.m., the Florida federal courthouse down there. This has to do with the circumstances surrounding a collaboration post on Instagram. So I don't know if y'all have, oh Lord, Amber back in the chat, everybody. I don't know if y'all have ever used the collaboration feature on Instagram, but it's different than tagging someone in a post. The collaboration feature makes your post that you post on your Instagram, it makes it like actually show up on someone else's Instagram. From when I have used the feature in the past, I believe that I have had to accept the person to be a collaborator or whatever. But I mean, I certainly am not a forensics expert. I don't know. Things glitch, things happen. But there is a back and forth argument going on right now about the gag order. So put the hearing from yesterday on the back burner. I'm just going to discuss this whole gag order, the Instagram, the collaborator thing now. Just get it out of the way because I think it's going to be shorter anyway. But I'm just reading this tweet again. What the long and short of it is, basically, like, just to put it like the most simplest, this is leaving out a lot of details, but just to give you the point, to give you the gist. Demoree Hadley sued her mom in Roc Nation. We all know this, right? I'm just starting at the earliest, easiest here. Okay. So she sued her mom in Roc Nation. It was the unlawful surveillance, alleged, locking her up against her will, like working with the Broward hospitals and all this, right? So she's filed this lawsuit against her mom. Well, almost instantly. I mean, within a very short amount of time. And in the meantime, Demoree went and did some interviews as she had the right to do. She exercised her God-given, inalienable First Amendment right to be able to express herself, but also protected by the Constitution. She did all of this way before any type of gag order, anything like that. She was just like, this is like I know she didn't say this. I don't ever want to put words in her mouth, but it was like kind of like, to me, what it seemed like from the outside looking, it was like kind of like a life or death situation. Like she was like, okay, like I need to tell y'all something's going on here. So I did an interview with her. It did get copyright struck. So my channel had a strike on it, but it has now been reinstated because I appealed it. she did interviews with a bunch of other content creators, and one of the content creators that she did an interview with is a creator by the name of Tasha K. Now, Tasha K is a content creator. She's also, I believe, like a traditional like journalist as well. I shouldn't speculate. I don't know, but I think she's like a reporter too, or she was. But she has a really big YouTube channel, Tasha K, and she's kind of like at this point like a pop culture icon of the internet world. Like she's kind of like always just right adjacent. It's kind of like DJ Academics, like just sort of ubiquitous. Like these big cases always have an element of Tasha K, and good for her. She's been doing it for a long time and stuff like that. I know people have their opinions one way and the other on her, but I think we would all agree, like, she's a pretty big deal on YouTube at this point. She's made her name a name for herself, and she also did an interview with Demoree. Well, the interview, Demoree did a bunch of interviews. I even tried to hook her up with a few people like to do interviews with that I actually know, which I don't have a manager. I don't have a network like that, like a network, like a podcast network or anything. But I even tried to, introduce Demoree to a few people who I do know who I thought would be good for her to get her story out. But of course, abruptly, um, the judge does go ahead and or Rock Nation and them, they all request a gag order from Demoree, or for everybody, so nobody can talk about the case on social media, and the judge does grant it. So at that point, Demoree had basically a gag order, so where she couldn't talk about it. But so did the other parties. Well, she had already done some interviews before the gag order went into place. And there was a little bit of back and forth, like from the lawyers, Desiree and them's lawyers were like, we want to see the list of the interviews that Demoree did where that haven't come out yet. And mine had just came out like that week. So I was off the hook. Not it. And I don't know what ended up happening with that. But one of the interviews that Demoree did before the gag order was in place was with Tasha K. And Tasha K did not get around to posting that interview or publishing it on YouTube until after the gag order is put in place. So you follow, like, there's no gag order. Demoree does an interview, and then boom, gag order, but the interview didn't come out yet. So then it comes out later. Okay. Sorry, I had to check a text message and I lost my spot. Okay. So the interview comes out. The gag order is already in place, but again, Demoree, that's not her. She didn't post it. She can't control what somebody else posts, and Tasha K has the right to post something if she wants to, and so that's all fine and good. Well, what had happened apparently was Tasha K, or whoever's running her account over there, tagged Demoree as not only a like a tag, but she tagged her as a collaborator. Now, this is where the disagreement comes in, because Jay-Z, I keep saying Jay-Z because I just like associate Rock Nation with Jay-Z, but please, if I say Jay-Z, Demoree has been very clear that she doesn't have any reason to think Jay-Z has anything to do with this. So I just want to make it very clear, if I slip up and say Jay-Z, it's because like the word Jay-Z is stored right next to the word Rock Nation in my brain because they're associated, and sometimes it's live. I just say stuff, but it's not Jay-Z. Also, some of these lawyers and law firms are Jay-Z's lawyers and law firms, so it's just an accident if I say that. Okay, so there's two versions of this story, okay? It's two sides of the story, and I'm going to tell y'all I don't know what's the truth because I wasn't there, okay? So Rock Nation, Desiree and them, their side of the story is Demoree violated that gag order. The judge went through all that trouble to put in a gag order into place, and Demoree violated it because why? Because it wasn't a simple tag. No, it was a collaboration, which Rock Nation and Desiree are saying this collaboration is not a simple post. No, it required Demoree actually press the accept button. Now, Demoree's side of things is no, it happened without my knowledge. I did not press accept. I was just added immediately on. It just showed up on my page as soon as I noticed it. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I noticed it, I took it off of my profile. Now, I have a whole side conspiracy theory. My mind is open to a conspiracy theory personally. And it's like, all these allegations of people hacking people's phones and clouds and things. What if it's the case? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. But what I can tell you is I really truly don't know because I was not there. And like I told you on my last video, I haven't spoken to Demoree. I haven't asked her about this personally. And the reason for that is so that nobody can say that I'm running her PR. All I'm saying is it raises questions as to why there's these two different sides of the story and they just don't both add up. But here, apparently, according to this tweet, and I will pull up the documents so we can read them ourselves. But this tweet is saying Demoree did not post anything. She didn't post it, and she did everything right to remove and to notify Tasha K. So there's a hearing on this, and this account is saying that tomorrow this hearing is going to have these experts, seasoned professionals, including former federal prosecutors, intelligence officers. Tell me how you become a former intelligence officer. Is it even possible? Anyway, and special agents from prestigious agencies such as the CIA. Okay, great. So that's all I needed to know. So they hired someone that has CIA, former CIA. Somebody told me it takes like 2 or 3 years just to stop working for the CIA. They got to approve that you stop working for them. I don't know. Okay. So this hearing tomorrow is apparently on this stuff. So let me pull up the documents. It's like very short documents. Okay, so we'll start with 177, docket number 177. I'm bringing it up right now. I had to find it in my files. Has Tasha apologized or took accountability for doing this? I don't know. I do not know. If anybody knows. Okay. So defendants Rock Nation and Desiree Perez want a hearing, disclose that they intend to present live testimony at the hearing. Okay. Who's going to testify at the hearing? Alistair Thompson, Associate Director at Guidepost Solutions. They're also going to have a corporate representative testify from Meta. They are having someone from Meta. They also want Demoree and they also want Javon. Okay. And then it is signed. So that's the whole thing. Okay. So what was that paperless order? ECF 173. So let me bring that up so that we can get some type of understanding of what this paperless order is. I think it's just the judge saying, let's have a little hearing. I'm going to Pacer to look for docket number 173. Okay, this is helpful. All right, so just to remind you what we're checking. ROC Nation and Desiree Perez intend to present live testimony tomorrow. Why? At what? This July 31st hearing at 2 p.m. Pursuant to a paperless order at ECF number 173. Well, I did pull up Pacer, and I will show you what 173 is, this paperless order. Here it is right here. Hearing. Okay, so paperless order setting a hearing on the following motions. ROC Nation's motion for order to show cause. Desiree's motion for a special order regarding social media postings, because this is where they're trying to like get sanctions and stuff. Defendant's motion for order to show cause. Other defendants. Also Daniel Bober's motion for a HIPAA protective order. A hearing before Judge Lauren Lewis is now set for tomorrow, July. Well, this was put up was on the 24th, so it was about a week ago. All appearances will be made at the courthouse, so no Zooming. So this is an in-person hearing. All exhibits shall be pre-marked for the hearing and served on opposing counsel by no later than July 29th. So this was yesterday. Okay, so all exhibits had to be exchanged yesterday. The parties shall confer prior to the hearing regarding their exhibits to identify the exhibits to which they will stipulate entry into evidence and narrow their anticipated objections. Okay, and then by no later than July 29th, any party who intends to present live testimony at the hearing must file a witness list identifying the witnesses the parties intend to call. Okay, so that's what we got. And there's going to be somebody from Meta to come in and I think explain and describe how collaboration posts work. I don't know if there's some type of metadata or what. I really do think they are kind of like overblowing this. I think they are just trying to stick it to Demoree. And I also do tend to agree with this Twitter user, or the Demoree docket. I do tend to agree that these bringing live testimony in was just a reaction to the win that they had yesterday. And the win, let's now circle back around to talk about what and also, wait, hold on. Let's just close out that other topic for tomorrow. Demoree and Javon just put themselves on the witness list. So they're going to be there as witnesses. They're not bringing anybody else. Okay. So what now? So let me get my notes here. There was a hearing yesterday, and it was the Vegeta girl. How do you say it? It was the Vegeta of Gag City Twitter. Please share. Is this? No, it wasn't that. It was this account, but it wasn't that tweet. I get distracted. Oh, it's me. Ting. Covering the just. Yeah. I'm live now, everybody. Hold on, let me retweet it. And what's this? Oh yeah, this is another same thing. This is like the Demoree bulletin board over here. I'm trying to get to. Okay. So yesterday, I saw this as it came up. As you can see, I already liked it. Yesterday, this was posted. Court update. Witnesses were just updated. Okay, guys, today was a huge win. Witnesses just got an update, and wow, so happy. We did an amazing job proving we were real people. They said next time everyone will be able to join. And the judge said that this case is in the public interest. They will even allow media. Lara, that's the one suing Demoree, tried to object, but it did not work. Lara had no idea there was going to be witnesses or an audience. She was not prepared. She must have thought this would be fast, quick, and quiet, but nope. So proud of everyone. So happy with the judge's decisions today. Amazing job, everyone. The next hearing is Demoree's motion to dismiss, and it's August 19th. Okay, great. And this again is on a separate but related case. This one has to do with Demoree and Lara, the lawyer from Reed Smith, whose picture gets copyright claimed. And then I had a Q&A about this. I had a Q&A about this hearing. Thanks to everyone who joined. Check it out if you have any questions. And so I did. I listened to this. It was about 45 minutes long, if I recall. Yeah, it's like 46 minutes long. And I did listen to it. And I encourage y'all, let me actually put the link in the live chat. So y'all can go over there and listen to it, because he was actually being a witness. This is like actual witness. There was apparently 8 witnesses. So this is, I just put the link in the chat. Thanks so much. You'll clap when I'm gone for the €5. Hey, everyone. Hope you're well. Shout out to Kel on Earth for gifting not 1, but 2 That's Surprise Witness memberships. Thanks to Amber for the $10 super chat. I'm trying to get any crown. There you go. Thanks so much, Louise, for the 17 DKK heart. Thanks so much, Ripple Effect Media, for the $2 super chat. Thank you for your perfect brain. We heart you. Shout out to you. Ooh, girl, perfect. I don't know. Okay, so I do want to kind of just tell y'all. Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Again, Ripple Effect Media. I have some notes. So we're not going to listen to the whole 45-minute long thing. I just took some notes of what I kind of thought was some of the important takeaways from the hearing. A couple other people who were in there did speak a little bit. So it was a hearing yesterday. It was in Miami. Again, this was the Lara versus Demoree restraining order for the so-called alleged cyber harassment or whatever. It was funny because I'm going to say Vegeta girl, but I don't know how to say the name. The Vegeta account was there was 5 lawyers there for Lara. Lara had 5 lawyers there. And that's what he said. Maybe it was 3, I don't know. Maybe it was 7. I don't know. But it was 5 lawyers. And that's how they roll, right? It's 5 lawyers from a really successful, scary law firm against 1 little girl, or 1 young woman, I should say. But, it's all of them ganging up on her, in my opinion, because in my opinion, every single lawyer standing there on that side knew for a fact, in my opinion. I mean, obviously I can't get inside their minds. I don't know, but every single one of them, in my opinion, knew for a fact that, there was no cyber harassment and there was no stalking, and still they show up to do the song and the dance. In my opinion, I don't know. I can't get in their brains. But so many people showed up on the Zoom that the judge was like, what's all these people doing here? This is real people. They were having to prove they were real. So instead of being 5 lawyers to 1 little Demoree, it actually ended up being 5 little lawyers versus 100 people. There was 8 witnesses there ready to testify. Oops. Okay, so what else did Vegeta say? She said, he said it seemed like the Reed Smith lawyers, on Lara Gatz's side, were really prepared for it to be in and out. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, in and out on with life. They were not prepared for witnesses. They were not prepared for a big trial moment with all these people and all this. So they were a little shook. They were shook.com. And there was apparently a lot of people in there. Around about this part of the recap, he did say that is where he said that the Reed Smith maybe brought a court reporter. So I am in the process of trying to figure out if I can get the transcript. You can donate to the Cash App. Donate to the Cash App if you want to help pay for the transcripts. Transcripts are expensive. They seemed caught off guard. They thought that this was going to be an open and shut case. They had no witnesses, whereas Demoree had 8 witnesses. So that's important to me, because having no witnesses versus 8 witnesses could possibly explain why that same, those same, I will say, interested parties are then in the other case. Oh, all of a sudden they got witnesses. Why? Because earlier this morning, y'all got caught with your pants down and didn't have no witnesses. So now tomorrow, whenever you go to the next court date, you want to have your witnesses? Maybe. Maybe they already had this. I mean, I doubt that a witness from meta.com can just at the drop of a hat just stop what they're doing. I mean, maybe this has been being planned, because they are trying to get Demoree caught up in a contempt charge, basically saying she violated the court's order by clicking accept on the collaboration post. Now, I even think she could have even accepted the collaboration post knowingly, but without knowing what a collaboration even is, like allowing someone to tag her. Like, not everybody knows what a collaboration is and how it works. I mean, clearly they're having an expert come testify about it. So obviously they need an expert to testify about it. So obviously people don't know how it works. Again, that is not what this hearing was for yesterday, though. That's what the hearing is going to be for tomorrow. That's tomorrow's hearing. Yesterday's hearing that was so successful for Demoree was the restraining order. Again, I do keep having to separate. These are 2 different cases we're talking about, but it's like the same. Demoree's in both of them. Javon gets mentioned in both of them. Reed Smith is popping up in both of them. It's like different, it's different cases, but it's the same universe and the same web, if that makes sense. Now this part blew my freaking mind. And I actually went back to the Demoree docket and looked at the publicly posted documents. And it turns out that it looks like it is actually true and verifiable. But according to the Vegeta account, the judge was not aware at all of the federal court case. The federal case that Demoree filed against Desiree, unaware. The judge did not know. Laura Gatz did not tell the judge. But you know what Laura Gatz did tell the judge about? The lawsuit, which some claim is frivolous, that was filed against Javon, the very, very first one. The very first one before Demoree ever even filed hers. Desiree had sued Javon, the son-in-law. So Laura Gatz is like, oh yeah, I represent the client in that case. And, I'm just getting cyber stalked and cyber harassed. And it's just been, I need protection. I need Your Honor to step in. But she did not tell the court, apparently, according to the reports coming out of the court yesterday. Again, I'm trying to get the transcripts so I can tell y'all for sure. But apparently the judge was completely unaware that there was a whole other federal case going on. Like, this is pretty important. Whenever people are trying to get a gag order, whenever somebody's trying to get a restraining order on someone, which if you are precluded from speaking about someone, from saying so much as saying their name on the internet, that is a First Amendment issue. Now, there should absolutely be times when certain people are not allowed to say certain people's names. Period. There really are abusers who really should be stopped sometimes from abuse, for sure. But it's a high bar that you have to reach. It's a high bar you have to reach before you can go so far as to tell someone they can't even say somebody's name on the internet. This is free speech. So it's always this balancing. And you have a right, you have a absolute right to speak about public interest concerns, and in particular, whenever they are affecting you and your specific rights. So Demoree does, by default, have a right, many rights, actually, many rights, but specifically a First Amendment right, we'll talk about that one, to speak on cases that she is involved in. She has a right to do that. there's all these extra balancing tests that come in that will and can sometimes impede on the rights, sometimes temporarily. This has happened to me before, where, remember whenever, I don't even remember now, it's all a blur, but whenever Lima sent that crazy process server to my house banging on my door, even though she knew who my lawyer was for a year and all of that, as soon as I found out, no, it wasn't even that one. Yeah, yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. She waited like over a week to give me notice that she had gotten a temporary restraining order granted. This was all in California, which I don't even think they really truly, between me and you, I don't think they ever had jurisdiction over me to tell me what I could freaking say online or not. Okay. So just so we're clear. But in these cases, sometimes they can like temporarily stop you from talking, but then once you win and then your speech has been infringed upon, you could sue for anti-slap. You sue them right back. You just try to violate my free speech rights with some bullshit, and I'm getting my lawyer's fees, and now you owe me $100,000. Oops. Or 97.5 or whatever it is. So in this case, they did not apparently give the judge the full picture. And the judge is starting to get the full picture yesterday, when the judge is like, wait, these are real people. This doesn't look like bots. This looks like real people that are concerned. And the judge apparently was like asking, like, how can we make this hearing more accessible to the public? How can we let media come in so this is televised? And apparently that's when the Reed Smith lawyers started scrambling, looking like, what do you mean? Tell the media. And y'all saw it on the Demoree docket, Y'all saw it. The Demoree docket said they were trying to object. But the judge was like, nope. She had no idea there was going to be witnesses or an audience. She was not prepared. She must have thought it would be fast, quick, and quiet, but no. So proud of everyone. What else do I have in my notes here? So the hearing has been reset. For when? I had it written down somewhere. Let me see. I think it's September. Or if somebody's in here, y'all can put it in here too. August 19th. August 19th is the next public hearing in the Lara Gatz versus Demoree temporary restraining order for cyber harassment, cyber stalking in the 11th Judicial District of Miami-Dade at 11:30 a.m. Miami-Dade local time. August 19th, 11:30 a.m. Now, that is for the Lara Gatz versus Demoree, but we also have another hearing with similar parties as Demoree, and the contempt hearing is tomorrow. And this is going to have Meta representative is going to be there. They're going to also have a, yeah, I know, seriously, before y'all start speculating, don't worry, Anon. I got something for them coming. Don't worry. And yes, shout out to that judge. Indeed. It's very interesting. LA Chic says she first appeared on Jaguar right before Tasha K, and that is true. And she appeared on Jaguar right before me too. And they never mention the Jaguar right interviews at all. Like, maybe they do, maybe I missed it. Y'all show me the page number, but it's actually like kind of strange to me. Like, everybody else gets mentioned. These random Stan accounts with six followers. My stuff, I can't get through 2.5 Demoree filings without my stuff being posted somewhere. And it's like, nobody's mentioning Jaguar Wright. Why her stuff didn't get took down? Jaguar Wright stuff didn't get took down, but mine did. Okay. I mean, it's just interesting. It's all mysterious to me. Okay. So the hearing has been reset. And what else? So also it was brought up, the strikes. Speaking of strikes. The strikes got brought up because Reed Smith and Laura Gatz and them, they thought they were going to get a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, quick and dirty restraining order. Somebody can't talk. Somebody's got like a quasi criminal record now. Nope. 8 witnesses showed up, and from the sounds of things, it was like maybe close to 100 other people showed up to the court on the Zoom. And so 8 witnesses show up for Demoree, and no witnesses show up on the Laura Gatz side. And so the Laura Gatz side is like, we want a list of those 8 witnesses, because they're like anonymous right now. And no, the judge said no. The judge would not order Demoree turn over a witness list, which I don't know, maybe that's typical, maybe it's not. But no, the witness list does not have to be turned over. And one of the reasons the lawyer argued on Demoree's side is they brought up these false, fraudulent, in my opinion, fraudulent DMCA strikes, the copyright strikes. The lawyer, Demoree's lawyer, apparently brought it up and was like, excuse me, no, we're not giving these people's names. We're not giving these people's identification, because immediately they're going to abuse the copyright system. No, we can't do that, Your Honor. And I don't know if that argument is what carried the day. I don't know if any argument did. I don't know if the judge already had her mind made up, or his mind made up, or whatever. But regardless, it was a big win, because Demoree does not have to turn over the witness list in this Laura Gatz case. But this is different, because in the witness list did already just got turned over in her federal case for what? For this little sideshow about contempt because of this collaboration post with Tasha K. I mean, I don't even want to think about the money. I don't even want to try to think about the dozens of thousands of dollars in legal fees just this week alone in just these Demoree cases. 5 lawyers showing up to a little restraining order status checkup alone. I mean, like, lawyers can be up to like $1,200 an hour these days, y'all. Some of them's like $1,500. Okay. So let's just say that the lawyers from Reed Smith are like $400 an hour, even on average. Let's just say $400. There was 5 of them, and they were there for however long, and they're driving there, and they're, whatever. I don't know. Maybe were they in person? Somebody tell me, were they in person or on Zoom? Yeah, I mean, well, I'm partial to my interview. I mean, I obviously think my interview was the best one, but I'm not really in competition with anybody, so I don't really do like the best, worst thing like with myself, because personally, nobody can do anything better than me, because I can do what I can do the best. Certain things I don't do. Y'all don't see me out here running a marathon. Okay. Certain things I don't do. Okay. Y'all don't see me running. All right. You don't see me climbing too much. All right. But I'm not in competition with anybody. So I'm not really trying to do a whole ranking list of like who did the best interview. But if I was obviously would be number 1. So I think that goes without saying. And I think everyone would agree too. So there's that. Anyway, so what's really going on with this Laura Gatz Demoree thing, like procedurally, is that Demoree is actually saying similar arguments to what I said with the Lima thing, which is like, this is free speech. I can talk. I did not harass. I did not stalk, whatever other stuff. No, I mean, obviously I'm always telling people not to contact people. So, so this is a similar argument that was made in that Demoree is making. And so her lawyers are going to file a motion to dismiss, or maybe they already have. I'm having actually a hard time getting access to the documents on this particular docket. And maybe it's because they're like restraining order documents. The only ones that I've seen were on the Demoree docket Twitter. So, so before they even get to the point where a witness is needed, Demoree is trying to get the thing thrown out. Like, Your Honor, this is silly. We don't even need to be here on this. Okay. So that's going to be the motion to dismiss hearing. That is the one that's going to be on August 19th. Now, if the judge sides with Demoree and says, you know what? I agree. This is free speech. This is not a cyber harassment. Also, there's already a restraining order, a protective order in the federal case. Like, that's the whole thing too, y'all. From like, okay, think about it like from a very common sense perspective. What does Laura Gatz want? Well, she's asking the judge to restrain Demoree from going near her and really talking about her online. I think that's the main thing. She doesn't want her to talk about her online. Well, she already can't, because there's a federal order in place, which Laura Gatz failed, apparently, according to these, Twitter accounts, apparently failed to ever let the judge know about. So in the motion to dismiss, I would imagine it's going to say something like, there's already a protective order in place where my client can't talk about nobody. Second of all, this is free speech. Third of all, this is a, unlawful retaliation for blah, 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 whatever. If I had to guess, I don't know. I haven't seen the document. But the judge is going to hear the arguments in about 2 or 3 weeks, August 19th, on whether or not he's going to allow, or she's going to allow the thing to even go to a trial. Might not even need a witness. It might just be, you didn't even plead a case. Cyber harassment. What do you mean? You didn't plead the case. So that's what they're going to be talking about on the 19th. Now, if the judge sides with Demoree and says, true, you didn't even plead, if there's no harassment here, get out of my face, boom, case over, boom, goodbye, moving on. But if the judge says, I don't know, I think I need to hear more. I need to hear from these witnesses. I need to hear from these, experts. I need to hear from the experts at Meta or whatever, This is the cyber harassment from Laura. A lawyer is suing Demoree for stalking and harassment. And this is a very common, it's a technique called DARVO. It's where you get out in front of something, and if you're being accused of something, you just turn it right back, and whatever it is you're being accused of, you just point back on the person accusing you. You're like, no, you're the stalker. You harassed. Meanwhile, you've been getting harassed. Meanwhile, you the one been getting harassed, for however long. Can't even live in your own bedroom. Can't even take a pee in your own bathroom without your mama recording you. But you the one harassing. It's it's a very common DARVO technique. Okay, so if the motion to dismiss, I bet the motion to dismiss is going to get denied. Granted. I believe the judge, based on what I've heard so far, will grant Demoree's motion to dismiss, which is going to find that they haven't even pled that any harassment actually occurred. There's no evidence that any harassment or stalking occurred. Yeah, projection. Yep. In my opinion, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know these people, and I certainly can't think like them. I can tell you that. Now, all this is going to be public. So the August 19th one, that one will be just for the motion to dismiss. And then it could be dismissed. It could be over. It could be totally over. But then if it does continue on, then the next hearing would be the trial, where witnesses would go. And that, again, also too would be public. Okay. So what else did I have here? It was just really highlighted over and over that the judge seemed to really be in support and in favor of public transparency. And I do want to give the judge some flowers and some credit. Some flowers and some credit where it's due on that, because so much we see, and especially in the federal courts, but state courts too, sometimes they can be the absolute worst, because they're just these good old boys that are just used to getting away with anything and everything, because nobody's really rolling through there and nobody's checking for them. So I do want to say, I think this judge was a female. I do want to say that this judge, flowers, good vibes, thoughts and prayers and all that, because it is very uncommon these days in the land of the free and the home of the brave to get a judge that really is leaning into their oath, to uphold the Constitution. That's supposed to be their boss. Earl says he thought the camera in the house was for the grandfather who was living in the house with dementia. It was. There were cameras in the house. And this is what Demoree does say. Demoree, yes. Demoree says this too in Desiree. Demoree says, yes, I agreed to have cameras in the house. Now, this is Demoree's side. I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay, so I'm just telling you the two sides. Demoree says, yeah, I agreed to have cameras in the house. I knew there were cameras in the house, but in the common area. I didn't know that my mom was going to be watching me in the toilet. I didn't know that my mom had another camera facing my bedroom, facing my bed. So That is, Earl, and that's one thing that I've noticed about all of these really powerful people, including like Diddy, is there's like almost like a built-in plausible deniability. Like every single action they take is taken with the like ability to blame it on something else. Like, oh, that was for watching the granddad. It's like, then why did you have videos? Why did you have videos of bedroom activities if that was supposed to be for the granddad? You know, it's sinister and it's scary in my opinion. But that being said, I was not there. Okay. I don't know. I didn't ask. If Desiree does have occasion to watch this and she has something to say, she can email me at thatsurprisewitness@gmail.com. I'd be happy to read it out loud. Thanks so much, Itty Bitty XO. It's been an amazing ride these few months. I appreciate all your hard work. Thanks for covering these cases. You're the best. Shout out to you. Thanks so much. Thank you for gifting a membership as well, Itty Bitty. Shout out to L78 for gifting one That Surprise Witness membership. Thanks so much, Mickey. The curls are curling today. Member for 2 months. Shout out to you. Yeah, I mean, they are always 5 steps ahead. It's true. It's true. It's like with Diddy, right? It's like, okay, so he didn't really like buy the tickets. He didn't go buy the baby oil. He didn't, so much of the stuff he didn't do because somebody else did it. But it's like, he was the one that was directing him to do it. So very interesting indeed. Okay, well, that was an hour. So I guess that's a good stopping point. I think the next live I'm going to make, I'm going to be reading through some of the unsealed Epstein stuff, specifically some depositions, and we're going to start our Epstein list. Okay. They're not going to give us a list. We're going to start a list. Fine. I'll do it. Okay. Hell on earth. That's the point. That's exactly the point. Why would the camera be pointed at her bed and in her bathroom, in her private bathroom, in her bedroom, if it was for the grandfather? That's exactly the point. Why? Because it wasn't for the grandfather. It was for her, in my opinion. Actually, Mambo. That's how you say name? Mambo, I am going to get into Tory Lanez case. I have actually already started a little file. The Milagro saga, I'm very interested in, even just from like my own personal knowledge and information outside of the web, because they are, I think and I fear, are being able to pass some pretty scary precedents against this Milagro, whatever your feelings are on this person, whatever your feelings are on the specifics of what they did. There's certain precedents being set, I think, in the writing of some of the different sanctions and things being put on her that I think are actually putting free speech at risk on a lot of our rights, content creators and just regular we the people included. So that was really my entry point into it. But if anybody has like a good like primer, like who made the best documentary, you know what I mean? Like, because here's the thing. The Tory Lanez and the Megan Thee Stallion case has been so astroturfed to freaking hell, to be honest with you. Mambo, Mbombo. I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. It seems like it's been astroturfed to hell. So it's hard to figure out what's the real truth going on in here. Like, what are actual fragments in her foot? There's apparently an X-ray. Now, I mean, I'm so lost, So I know the cousins. Shout out to the cousins. I'm so lost. So did he actually, and what's the deal with Laura Loomer? Laura Loomer came around and so I'll send somebody a join link and you can come on and explain if somebody has the case. But I mean, I need to know, like, so at the beginning, it was like Tory Lanez pew Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. They went to court. He went to jail. Now it's like, maybe there's no pew in her foot. Maybe someone else did pew her in the foot. And it's like, where do you even go? There's so much astroturf. There is so much astroturf. But I am interested in that case, especially considering that he has an appeal coming up, right? Next month too. Let me look that up. Hold on. Because this is like in that universe, the Rock Nation verse. Hold on. I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting off. Let me put a poll in my let me put a poll in this video. It don't log me out of my YouTube. What the hell?
I hate that I can't keep this.
Imagine watching an ad on your own video. What is this? Oh, it's because I'm logged into the wrong thing. Hold on. I'm putting a poll up about Tory Lanez. Hold on. It's a yes/no poll. Discuss Tory. How you spell it? EY or just a Y? Just a Y. Tory Lanez today. Or go home. Or log off. Okay. There's that. Okay. So, oh my God. Also, August 18th. Stop it. Stop it. We need 2 court reporters, everybody. We need 2 court reporters because there are going to be. Is he wearing a Bulgari? Let me show you what I'm looking at. I mean, he was found guilty, right? She covered the whole Tory Lanez case on, but you know what they saying is they saying that she been talking to Tory and his father like 20,000 messages or something they saying. They are making an example out of her. I know. People are saying somebody else did it. I clicked on this to see. Oh no, that's not. Girl, no, that's not a Bulgari. Okay. But look, he got his appeal on the same day. On the same day as look. On the same day as Demoree has her next Laura Gatz hearing, we have the Tory Lanez oral arguments before the California Court of Appeal. His legal team is going to argue that errors occurred during his trial that warrant a reversal or a reduced sentence. He's currently serving a 10-year prison sentence. Oh, Lord. T done reported my poll. Okay, so what is this in? Y'all want to look up let me look at my poll. If not enough yeses, I'm logging off. But seriously, hold on. Let me see what y'all said. Because if like enough people actually care, I'll just like kind of like I'll start looking into it right now. I don't have nothing else to do. I was just getting off because I have nothing else to do. I cut my finger yesterday on accident. Let me look at my poll. The poll ain't showing. What the hell? Okay, hold on. I just got to find where he is. Or where the case was heard, the jurisdiction. Hopefully it's federal. What happened to Pam Bondi? It's so hard to keep up with what all is going on in the world. Oh my God, somebody went into labor on the news. Okay. Okay, people are saying yes. People are saying no. Okay, people are saying yes. People are saying no. I need more. I need more answers. Okay. California Court of Appeal. So it must have been a state case. Where was it? Was it LA County? It's the NPR article. Milagro got what on her channel, though? Mississippi boy. Shout out to the Mississippi cousins. My Mimi is from Mississippi. Tory Lanez is sentenced to 10 years for Megan Thee Stallion Pew Pew. This was back in 2023. Los Angeles County Superior Court. Okay. This is a live investigation. Okay. So this is how you do it. This is how I do it. If you're ever looking for things, this is how I do it. So we got it in Los Angeles Superior Court, which is lacourt.org or whatever. But it costs money to run a search on lacourt.org or whatever. So I'm going to see if any already exists. What is it? Because then that'll just give me the... Oh. They got the full transcripts out here? Oh, girl, please. Look at this. Meg was sent to trap Tory. Ooh, y'all have theories in here. Wait. Put a heart in the chat if you've been waiting for me to talk about this. Put a heart in the chat if you've been waiting for me to talk about Tory Lanez. If you just been on the edge of your seat, like why this girl ain't talking about. Put a heart, put a heart, put a heart. Any color heart. Let's see it. Okay, what is this? This is a transcript. I'm just reading. What is it? What am I looking at? Motion for a new trial. Okay, let's read this. Why not? Okay. All right. Look at all the hearts. Actually, it's not enough hearts. More. More. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to download this so I can make my little notations and stuff. Y'all know I like to do my little different color highlighting and all that. When is this from? We'll just start here. Why not? This is the motion for the new trial. This is a transcript. Oh my God, it's 200 pages long. Okay, we're not going to probably read the whole thing. Definitely not. His name Daystar? That's real? That's cute. I like that. That's kind of cute. Daystar? I mean, unless it's something weird like that I don't know about, but I don't know. It's kind of cute. Let's see. Transcript 2023 motion for new trial, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to start to get my bearings. Okay, y'all. Obviously, I didn't even know how to spell the man's name till this live stream, so just bear with me. But you know, I'm quick. I'm quick. Don't take me long. All right, I got it up. Here we go. Daystar Peterson. I think it's kind of cool. Does it mean something weird? I'm always scared to like be like, oh, I like that, because it's like something weird. His father is Sunstar. I love it. That's cute. I like it. I like it. I like a cute name. I like the name Sunny, Sunshine, like stuff like that. I think is cute. Oh, it's a Bible name. Okay. Shout out to the Bible. What am I doing? Oh, this. Here we go. This is a transcript. This is a transcript. What is it? It's supposedly a transcript for the motion for a new trial. Let's just skim. Let's see what's going on here. Who's the good guy? The judge. There's the People versus Peterson. All right, Daystar. I like that name. It like some things are like fun to say, like certain words. I learned in graduate school that the most linguistically like sonorant phrase in the English language, or set of syllables is cellar door. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, so here's the case number. We found that. So we'll come back to here and look up this case number to see what the most recent filings are. Y'all don't let me forget to do that. James Allen. Shout out to James Allen. Devil Nation. Devil Nation. Set him up. Going along with Kelsey and Megan. And it's because why, James? Because he was about to have to renegotiate his contract. Like, there's a bingo card for this stuff, right? Like, I haven't looked into this story, but let me guess. There's like usually like one of 3 or 5 things. It's like threatening to sue them, threatening to take them to court over royalties. Contract was about to be up. Is it this one? Let me know. Number 1 royalty. Number 1 contract was about to be up and he needed to renegotiate. He was going to start his own thing. That's usually number 1. So go with number 1 on that. Is that why they did? Number 2, is it because he was threatening to sue? Threatening to sue? Asking for his money? Or number 3, sometimes because you're taking artists away. Sometimes it's that. 1. Okay. Got it. So his contract was up. He was about to renegotiate. Yep. Okay. Got it. Okay. Look, I don't even have to be a psychic. It's a pattern. It's really just pattern recognition, truly. Yep. There it is. Boom. Y'all, please give my flowers. Put a flower in the chat for me. Please. 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 Tory did a live explaining how much he makes being independent. They wanted to sign Tory. He went independent. He turned down a Roc Nation deal. There you go. Okay. All right. Usually it's something like that. It all boils down to a scarcity mindset though, which I don't have, which is why I say I'm not in competition with anybody. I don't have a scarcity mindset. I know y'all be out here watching 47 videos on the same topic and wish there was 48. There's no scarcity. Anyway. Okay. So what do we want to do? Who's Baez? Okay. So Baez is Tory Lanez lawyer. So is Baroma and Benavente. That's a Bonaventure girl. That's one of the Bonaventures. They had to spell their name different or something, I think. That's probably y'all's cousin. Okay. So this Baez guy is Tory Lanez's lawyer. Good morning. We're here. Okay, cool. Barhoma is also his lawyer. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, Kathy Ta for the people. The matter is before the court. Hearing a motion for a new trial. Okay. Okay. This is fun. I like starting a new case. The matter is before the court for a hearing on a motion for a new trial. Let me update my title so people know I'm talking about Tory Lanez now. Investigating Tory Lanez case live. And y'all share this link with people who you think want to learn about the Tory Lanez case. We're going to do a little live investigation here. Share this link. Share this link. I need a Tory Lanez picture. Hold on. All right. I don't feel like doing that right now. Okay. So let's go back to what we were doing. The matter is before the court in a hearing on a motion for a new trial. The court has read and considered the following. Let me just set forth the legal standard we're dealing with here before we get into the discussion of the issues. So he talks about the legal standard. Evidence code. Okay. There appears a record or objection to. Wait, hold on. States the ground of misdirection of the jury. Okay. Article 6 of the Constitution. No judgment shall be set aside, a new trial granted in any case on the ground of misdirection of the jury or improper admission or rejection of evidence. Miscarriage of justice is the standard. Okay, so he starts with the standard. The standard is you don't get a new trial unless there was a, quote, miscarriage of justice. And in determining whether there was a miscarriage of justice, the court applies the standard from the Watson case from 1956. The standard is whether it is reasonably probable that a result more favorable would have been reached in the absence of the error. Okay. So, first, the defense, that's Tory Lanez, has made allegations of discovery violations. I reviewed the record very carefully and I did not find one instance where there was a request for a late discovery instruction or a request for a continuance, which we'll get to when we talk about some of these issues. There's a number of grounds that the defense complains of where the defense did not make objections at the time of the trial. Third, in making his determination as to whether there's a miscarriage of justice, so I'm going to guess the judge did not grant a new trial here. The court took a look at the entire record, which includes the testimony of other witnesses, physical evidence, everything else. The defense can correct me when you speak as to whether I'm wrong, but it appears the defense is not alleging ineffective assistance of counsel. Okay. I want to go look at more recently filed stuff because I think this judge is going to deny. Okay, BA 490 599. Let me go to the LA court and see if I can find this case more recent. Oh, they done changed the whole website up. Okay. Access a case. Here, I'll show y'all what I'm doing. Let me try to type in just the, let's see, access court documents, case document images. I'm going to try with the document number that we just found so that it's free. Because otherwise, if I have to search by his last name, they charge me like $5. I'm trying to pay $5. Okay, BA 490599. Let's see if anything comes up. No. I'm going to have to go by. Okay, Bayaz is the appeal lawyer. This was an older motion in the lower courts. Right. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, I figured that. James said they suppressed evidence. Oh my God. Shout out to the Hawaii cousins. I hope y'all are safe over there. Aloha. My God. How's everybody in Hawaii? I'm surprised y'all are on the. Yeah. Do you have the case number? Tell me the case number. I'm going to call him Mambo till I know how to say his name. Mbambo. Mbambo. Is that how you say it? Mbambo? Mbambo? I'm saying right? I like it. It's pretty. Yeah, I need the case number. Otherwise, I mean, I could just buy it. But pay. Okay. Because this is what it had said on that transcript. Okay, B331774. Okay, so B331774. Cool, let me try that. B331774. No. It says could not find. I'm going to just search it by the name. His first lawyer was Sean Chapman Hawley. Oh no. His first oh my God. I can't escape. Wow. Wow. I can't deal. Oh, that's for his appeal case. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I need to go. Well, it would be on LA Superior Court still, though, right? I'm gonna just search by the name anyway, because maybe it'll tell me both. I don't even know his freaking name. Oh, Daystar. How could I forget Daystar? What was his last name? Peterson. That's a good name. Okay. I'm gonna search Daystar Peterson. Hopefully that does something. Peterson. Is it Daystar? Yeah. Okay. It's loading. The bar's loading up at the top. Look, I typed it in right here. I guess it's going to take its time. Oh, I'm getting all these. Okay, for trial was BA. Yeah, that was the one I had typed in. BA 490599. It was like nothing turned up for that. Maybe it's because I was on the civil side. He got a divorce in 2024? Or a separation? And there's also a restraining order, 2024. Civil rights, discrimination in 2019. This is interesting. Okay, no, that's not showing up. So am I just on the wrong thing? Hold on. I'm going to find it. Don't worry. We're doing a live investigation. Access a case. Criminal case. Okay, this is a different one. Okay, I have to pay $1. It's better than $5. I'm paying my $1. Okay. When was the case? So there's 2 cases I see, y'all. Hold on. Oh, it's got XCN whatever in front of it. Okay. So let me show y'all. Where's Bombo? Where's he? It's that M at the front. I always want to say Mambo. Okay. Cuz look. There's 2 cases. I guess this one must be the appeal. LA, see, they have these things in front of them. So when you're typing it in and try and look it up on the court website, you got to type in these right numbers. Okay, so what is it? XCNBA 490599 hyphen 01. What's the first XCN? XCN. And the other one is LACB A490599. Okay, you can even click on them. All right. I'm just going to copy it. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. Nope. It still ain't working. Look. I want the documents. Give me the documents. Nothing. Look, it just keeps saying. What if I do this and then this? I don't know what to do. There's a case number and a case code. I'm on the Superior Court. I'm on LA Court. This is what I'm on. Maybe I need to go to the Appeals Court. Let's go to California Appeals Court. Docket search. Okay, go to the California Court's webpage. All right, here we are. Okay, MIMS apparently has the documents too. Okay, the system provides. It's in the appellate district. Which appellate district is it? This is what you have to do, y'all. This is how I find stuff. Okay. Tory Lanez Appeal District. Wait. Oh, we got another one. Haha. Thank you. Shout out to Instagram. Shout out to Heart of the Streets with a Z for this information. Tory Lanez appeal reaches final stage. People versus Peterson. B331774. That's the appeal. 2nd District, Division 3. Okay, so let's go 2nd District. And the case number is... Ha! Yes! Ha! Found it! Okay. Whew. All right. Now what? Docket. Oh, god dang it. They don't even have the freaking... documents. Okay, at least we could read this. So this was just entered. Okay, calendar notice. In accordance with the... Okay, so they unseal the transcript. Still no. It is complicated. It is complicated. This is what I have to do before I come on live all the time trying to find a document. Motion to compel. Let's see what else. Briefs. Maybe that opening brief was filed in 2024. Scheduled actions. Oh no. Okay, hold on. The People versus Peterson. Ah. What's this from TMZ? This is, this is the verdict. Let's take a look at that. The jury found him guilty of assault. Okay, let's go back here. Here's the motion for a new trial itself. I just want to see, like, what's his point? Like, what's his arguments? The defendant. Oh, can I download this? Oh, yeah, that'd be good. Okay, hold on. Let me download it because it's easier for me to maneuver it. Shout out to y'all living in Hawaii. That's crazy. I saw that it was tsunami watch over there. It's scary. Scary. Okay, I have his motion for a new trial at the very least, okay? So I'm pulling that up now. Ah. Here we go. It's 84 pages long, this one. Please take notice, April 2023. They want a new trial. The defendant moves for a new trial, supported by this motion. Okay, so what's the arguments? In the early morning hours. Okay, whew, finally. Can we get some claps in the chat? Okay. They said in the early morning hours of July 12th, 2020, defendant, that's Tory Lanez, allegedly used an unregistered pew-pew to perpetrate a shooting, causing one individual, Megan Pete, to sustain injuries to her feet. Megan Pete feet. Eat. Following an investigation, the state filed felony charges against the defendant on October 8th, 2020. Interesting. The number was BA490599. The matter proceeded to a jury trial, and on December 23rd, 2022, the jury returned its verdict. The jury found the defendant guilty of count 1, assault with a semi-automatic pew-pew, finding the assault had been committed through the use of a pew-pew, causing great bodily injury to Megan Pete and to her. The jury also found defendant guilty of count 2, carrying a concealed firearm within a vehicle, and also found him guilty of count 3, discharging said pew-pew with gross negligence in violation of Penal Code 246.3. Defendant now moves this court for a new trial based on the numerous errors committed at trial and the individual and cumulative impact of said errors, including but not limited to. Okay, so what were the errors? Numerous errors. I want to know what they were. According to Tory Lanez, the improper admission of an Instagram post and statements pertinent to alleged prior bad acts. Okay, so prior bad acts evidence, Instagram post showing that he's, a bad guy. He's up to no good. This violating his right to counsel of his choice. The admission of DNA evidence falling short of comporting with industry accepted reliability. Okay, so they're talking about Instagram post, DNA evidence, the use of radicalized character evidence through admission of evidence of defendants' tattoos and rap lyrics, and the violation of the confrontation clause as to a critical witness's testimony. Here's the background. On July 12th, 2020, at approximately 4:30 a.m., defendant, his security guard, Wakan Smith, 2 women, Kelsey Harris and Megan Thee Stallion, left a party at Kylie Jenner's Hollywood. Girl, please. They're leaving Kylie Jenner's house. Stop. Where's that 600 million, girl? Where is it? The group left in the defendant's black Cadillac sport utility vehicle. They still put an SUV, and they didn't even do it right. Oh, yeah, they did. They still do an SUV like we don't know what that is. Tory Lanez had a romantic history with both. Ooh, girl, the drama. It was a love triangle. He had a romantic history with both Megan Thee Stallion and also this girl, Kelsey Harris. Oh, the drama. The drama. And then they were leaving Kylie's house. While inside of the vehicle, a verbal argument reportedly ensued between Tory Lanez, Kelsey Harris, and Megan Thee Stallion. And remember, he had been in a relationship, romantically involved rather, with both. Megan Thee Stallion asked to get out of the vehicle. And then the security guard stopped the SUV in a residential neighborhood near Nichols Canyon Road. Megan Thee Stallion exited the SUV and walked away from the vehicle with her back to the SUV and its occupants, intending to call another ride. Okay, so she walks away. She's walking away. As she was walking away, yelling from inside the SUV continued. So she's walking away, Megan Thee Stallion walking away, and people inside the SUV still screaming. There's 3 people still left in there. She turned back around, and as she did so, a pew-pew was discharged from the SUV in her direction, aimed at her feet. Defendant and Harris, Kelsey. So Tory Lanez and Kelsey ran to Meg Thee Stallion's aid, attempting to provide her medical assistance before helping her back into the SUV. So they got her back in the car. Then they went to Megan Thee Stallion's home. She was bleeding from at least 1 foot and expressed that she was in pain. Residents in the neighborhood called 911 to report a shooting. Officers from the LAPD Hollywood Division, oh, that's suspicious, responded to the calls. December 12, 2022, officers en route to the scene noticed a vehicle matching the 911 call description approximately a mile from the scene of the shooting. They initiated a felony detention stop of the defendant's vehicle. All passengers were commanded to get out of the vehicle, and the police searched the SUV. They discovered an olive green 9mm semi-automatic pew-pew on the floorboard of the front passenger seat. That's not safe carrying. It was later determined to be an unregistered pew-pew. The owner of this pew-pew was never determined. Wow. That's not a good sign. When officers observed Megan Pete to be bleeding from her right foot, that's Meg Thee Stallion, they questioned her about the source of her injuries, and she said she had been shot. She had not been shot. She said she had not been shot. Okay, that's interesting. Instead, she told the officers that she sustained the injuries from stepping on broken glass. Interesting. She was transported to the place where Brittany was first involuntarily incarcerated against her will, Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where she received medical treatment for bilateral injuries to her feet, which included surgery to remove, quote, bullet fragments from her feet. Right. So I've heard this. I've heard she had the bullet fragments in the feet. At the conclusion of the stop, the driver, Kelsey, and Tory were taken into police custody. And among the 2 males and 1 female, Tory Lanez was the only one arrested on suspicion of carrying the concealed pew-pew within a vehicle. Later, he was charged for those things. And as part of an ongoing investigation, Meg Thee Stallion was interviewed several times, including on July 16th, 2020. And then later that same year, November 12th, 2020. In these later interviews, she changed her original story and told LAPD Detective Ryan Stogner that she actually had been shot and that Tory Lanez was responsible for firing the weapon. She claimed that she had conveyed a different story on the morning of the shooting because she was scared, traumatized, and embarrassed. Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. On November 12th, 2020, she identified defendant through a single photo identification procedure. Not only had this, but she was walking away, right? Not only the statement, primary complaint, her statement changed, but as the investigation into the shooting continued, further questions were raised. Okay, what are the further questions? Because I think this is what really this is all going to come down to. These further questions and whether it's enough to overturn his original conviction and get a new trial. And he has to show a miscarriage of justice. Several other witnesses, in addition to Megan Thee Stallion, were interviewed and provided different versions of events. No one except Meg Thee Stallion could identify who discharged the gun. The gunfire came from the side of the vehicle that Harris had occupied. Oh. That's why somebody said Kelsey did it. After the incident, Harris, Kelsey, and Megan nearly immediately discontinued their long-term friendship and employer-employee Oh, girl, it was messy. Forensics testing did not resolve any of these questions. Both Harris and Tory Lanez, so Kelsey and Tory both had gunshot residue on their hands. Inexplicably, considering the gunshot residue results and the wildly conflicting testimonial versions of events, the only DNA sample collected for analysis in comparison to the firearm. Okay, this is bad. Okay, all right, wait, hold on. This is bad. It is starting to look like this is bad. Okay, look, y'all saw me. I didn't even know how to spell this man's name. I'm not biased one way or the other way yet. Okay. So far, I literally started this by saying I don't know what happened. But if this is true, that's a problem. Okay. Forensic testing didn't resolve any of the questions like who actually pulled the trigger. Both Harris and both Kelsey and Tory Lanez had gunshot residue on their hands, but even though they both had gunshot residue on their hands, they only took Tory Lanez's DNA. They only collected his DNA to compare to DNA on the gun. They did not take anyone else's DNA. That's weird to me. They both had gunshot residue on their hands. That means their hands were in the vicinity when the gun went off. This is weird. Yeah, and the lawyers say it too, and it's inexplicable. The only DNA sample collected for analysis in comparison to the firearm in the magazine was a sample belonging to Tory Lanez. The test results ruled that he was not. What? He was ruled out. His DNA was not on the gun? No, they were inconclusive. The magazine, his DNA was not on the gun. And on the magazine, they couldn't, excuse me, I got it backwards. His DNA was definitively not on the magazine. And on the gun, they ran the DNA, but it was inconclusive. I am surprised they never checked this Harris girl. Actually, truly, it might need a new trial. I mean, why didn't they check? She had gunshot residue on her hands and they didn't run her DNA on the gun, even though they didn't find Tory Lanez's DNA on the gun. That seems odd. Let me see what y'all are saying. Roro said, Tory did never change his story. Everyone else has changed their stories multiple times. Okay. James said Megan is a liar and her lawyer team. Is it Alex Spiro, James? Yeah, like what? Yeah, Tari and Queen. I'm kind of feeling like Kelsey. Yeah, you are the one who was like Kelsey did. That's why y'all were saying. That's why you were saying it. She did that because she was mad because she found out about the love triangle. I mean, look, I could see the motive. I'm not saying that she did it. I'm saying nobody ran her DNA on that gun. Nobody collected DNA just to check, just to see. That's weird. Messy, messy, messy. A body cam footage was also not given. Alexis said, check your DMs. Which ones? Zoe said forensics used all of the available DNA on the gun. They can't even retest with a new trial. Wow. Wow. This is only the beginning of the railroading. Read on and you are going to be disgusted. Okay, I'm reading. I don't want to spoil it, but oh girl, a Kelsey got immunity. Oh my God, girl, stop. Am I surprised? No. It is Spiro. Not shocked. The LAPD Hollywood division, y'all. What could go wrong? Kaylee sent me all the documents, including the appeal on X. Okay, let me go. Let me read through this one and then I'll go check that. Thank you, Kaylee. Or who sent it? What did you say? Kaylee. Yes. Thank you, Kaylee. Okay, let me read a little bit more of this and then I'll go there. On October 8th, 2020, defendant was formally charged via a 2-count criminal complaint filed in the Los Angeles County Superior Court. He was charged in count 1, assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Count 2, carrying a concealed pew-pew within a vehicle. As to count 1, the state alleged that Tory Lanez personally used a firearm within the meaning of the penal code, and he inflicted great bodily injury upon Meg the Stallion. He was arraigned on October 13th. He pled not guilty to all charges, and he denied all allegations against him. Following a preliminary hearing at which he was bound over on all charges and sufficient cause was found as to all allegations, on January 13th, 2022, he was arraigned on information that contained the same charges and allegations as the earlier charges. He entered the same pleas of not guilty. He was going to go to trial December 2022. Despite the prosecution's otherwise zealous prosecution of the case in the more than 2 years leading up to the trial, on the eve of trial, they sought to make a last-minute amendment. Okay. Right before the trial started, they wanted to amend. The prosecutors amended to add a count 3. Okay, which that's normal. That happens. People amend things, but I mean, you do have the right to a fair trial, and you have the right to know and have notice of, what you're going to have to defend against. Though requesting leave to amend the charging document at that juncture was permitted under the law, the court's discretion to grant such leave was subject to the defendant's statutory due process rights. Exactly what I just said. They can do that. You can update and amend an indictment. You can have a little superseding indictment moment, but you can't really do it like the day before trial. You got to balance on the scale between the between the rights of the defendant. We all have First Amendment rights, and Second Amendment, and Third and Fourth and Fifth, and all of those rights. The due process, that's the 14th and the Fifth Amendment, fair trial, all of that stuff. So that has to be balanced. You can't just say like, oh no, we're going to tell you the night before that you're charged with murder now. No, obviously that's not how that works. So that's what his lawyers are kind of saying here. They're like, look, subject to, they could have requested, Your Honor, can we amend the filing? And yes, of course, the court does have the discretion to grant them to do that. However, all of that is subject to Tory Lanez' statutory and due process rights, to notice of the charges that are going to be against him, to collect evidence, to collect information. He's saying that it was, a request to amend a charging document like they did in this case should be denied if it is unfair and harassing in nature. So Tory Lanez and then they objected. They're like, no, I object. You can't change the charges now, right before the trial is supposed to start. However, the court granted the state's request without properly inquiring into the questionable rationale for the late amendment. So they're like, it was gamesy. It was gamesmanship. The court only discussed its impact on the defense. Had the court considered such factors, it would have discovered that the late hour amendment was both unfair and harassing, and it was only one part of a much larger pattern of ambush-style tactics by the state. The people's MO, the prosecutor's MO of late notice and pressing the bounds of morality and the law, permeated the entirety of the proceedings and only continued in the jury's presence once the trial was underway. So they're saying, look, this happened. They were just not fair. They didn't do a fair trial. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't even read the allegations yet, but let's read further. In the final months leading up to trial, the prosecution instigated a meritless personal attack on defendant's primary attorney, Sean Hawley. Well, girl, you're not going to hear me out here arfing like a seal to Sean Hawley's defense, because I can promise you what goes around comes around. All right. This woman has been out here. Lindsay Lohan's dad blamed Sean Hawley for working with Lou Taylor and trying to put Lindsay Lohan in a conservatorship all the way back in like 2011. Okay. The woman has been out here. She is just like a ubiquitous little shadow lurker. She's just always just right there. Anyway, she was representing Tory Lanez. The final months leading up to trial, the prosecution instigated a meritless personal attack on defendant's primary attorney, Sean Chapman Hawley, accusing her of involvement of the alleged bribery of a witness. So the prosecution alleged that Sean Chapman Hawley tried to bribe a witness in the case. She might have. I would not be surprised. I'll tell you that. The prosecutor later assured counsel that it disbelieved she was involved, but the damage had already been done. In advance of trial, the state only partially disclosed evidence related to DNA testing. Okay, so this would be Brady. They should have argued this was a Brady violation. Partially disclosed evidence is something that should make your radar go off because it's unconstitutional under the Brady standard to withhold evidence. Only partially disclosed evidence related to DNA testing, despite the exculpatory and material nature of the evidence, belatedly turning the more complete version of the evidence over only on the request of the defense expert. Uh-oh. So it wasn't until Tory Lanez's defense expert, his expert witness, was like, can I have the DNA? Can we look at it or whatever? And then they turned it over to the expert, but they had not turned it over to Tory Lanez. And I am going to tell y'all right now, this exact issue is why Alec Baldwin got off on the Russ trial. Interestingly, an Alex Spiro case, if I recall correctly. Yeah, this is about the Meg Thee Stallion thing. But, okay, Alexa says his appeal does expand on that. Thank you. But this is one of the reasons why trials will actually and do actually get overturned. This is one of those hot button things where, remember whenever that guy, Alec Baldwin, it was like a shooting on the movie set and there was like actually somehow a bullet in the actual pew and like it discharged and someone died. So there was obviously that was not supposed to happen or was it, but there was like a box of ammunition where the original bullet came from. And the prosecutors had like stored it under a different case name or something. And maybe it wasn't even on purpose. Maybe it was just truly an accident. Mistrial. And you can't bring it back again. Prosecutorial misconduct, Brady violation. It's over. The end. So this is one of those things that you can sometimes see a mistrial being granted. On December 12th, 2022, it's always December 12th. That's like the end of the world day. So on 12/12/22, the state sought to introduce a shirtless image of Tory Lanez with a tattoo of a firearm on his chest, claiming its purposes for admission were pure. This was just to identify him regarding gunshot residue swabbing procedures. The state, this is Tory Lanez lawyers. They even feigned token of good faith by offering to introduce similar images of Harris and Smith. A few days later, December 19th, 2022, they flipped the switch again, ambushing the court and defense with their true motive for introducing the picture. When they inflammatorily and without cause asked a witness if she had seen the big gun that Tory has tattooed on the center of his chest. This is another big issue that I have seen cases be maybe not fully overturned actually, but I have seen judges really take issue with this and admonish people like you can't just out of nowhere bring up a gun. Like this is stuff you have to kind of talk about beforehand. And especially whenever you're just like, oh, it's just a shirtless picture. Did you see the big gun tattoo? It's like, whoa, hold on. No, that's not fair. Once the trial, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm telling y'all their arguments and, from the both sides. I don't have enough information about this case to have formed an opinion yet. So I'm just reading through. Once the trial had begun, December 13th, 2022, the people again, that's the people, they say the people, that means like the prosecutors, sought another last-minute amendment, this time moving the court to permit the introduction of a highly inculpatory evidence via Instagram post, which has been in existence since September 2020. So it was like they wanted to add this Instagram post that was 2 years old. The court again granted their request, despite the violation of the reciprocal discovery rule raised by its late presentation. Okay, so they're saying they weren't even supposed to be allowed to do this. There was already a rule in place. But the judges violated it and allowed them to violate it and let it come in. This prevented Tory, they're saying, from adequately countering the claims within the late submitted evidence, something it could have easily done if it had been afforded proper notice, as evidenced by the submission of the affidavit of out-of-state affiant Joshua Farias, unequivocally stating that it was he who was responsible for the contents of the post. This deprived Tory the opportunity to obtain this information. Okay, again, another kind of Brady-esque type of violation, y'all. I mean, he might be able to be onto something on this one. It deprived him of the opportunity to obtain this information and mount a defense, allowing the state to achieve its objective of presenting it to the jury in the exact same manner they wished, claiming it to be a definitive evidence that Tory Lanez was not the shooter, stated Harris was not the shooter. It was something about saying what's her name was the shooter or whatever. It was an Instagram post, but Tory Lanez apparently didn't write it. It was this other guy who wrote it, and the state apparently didn't let that evidence come in, that it wasn't like, they're like, okay, we'll lock Tory Lanez up because he wrote this Instagram post. Come to find out he didn't even write it. I think that's what they're trying to say. The same day at trial, their witness in the jury's presence testified to defendant making a rap video depicting violence. So what? That comes up in all kinds of trials. A few days later, the people threatened to introduce this very video if he testified. Well, that's that. So what? That's fine. I mean, look, that who cares? Like, people's rap lyrics get brought up all the time. Like, I do understand that you shouldn't be like convicted of a crime based on a rap lyric, but like, rap lyrics come up in court. It's okay. Like, don't write stuff that you can't stand behind in court. I mean, like, it's 2025. It's time that people grow up and realize your rap lyrics are getting read. Your country lyrics are getting read. Your opera lyrics are getting read. They're all getting read. It's all coming in. Now, should you go to jail forever based on something you wrote online? I mean, maybe if it's something illegal, if it's a threat, but, I try to keep it equal. I try to keep it even and fair. He has made some good points though so far. So I could see it actually getting a new trial. Maybe. We'll see more as we go. On December 14th, 2022, despite the state's prior assurances that it did not suspect Tory's team of involvement with the bribery claims, it nonetheless reignited its accusations against attorney Sean Chapman Hawley, springing its restored suspicions on the defense team. Throughout the trial, the state heavily overstated the value of the Instagram post, as well as the inconclusive DNA evidence on the gun, hammering to the jury that the defendant's own account posted that Harris was not the shooter. But again, he said he didn't write that. And this is what you got to be careful and this is for all these artists and everybody out here. I know that there are, celebrities and artists who do like follow my videos and stuff, and lurk around on your ghost accounts. Y'all got to stop letting anybody and everybody write anything and everything on your damn Instagram account, because you might get convicted of murder. Because Cassie Petrie and everybody's in there logged on there and saying stuff. Okay, I'm just saying. The state similarly presented evidence of a history of criminality, and they knew this to be false. So they put up a false image of criminality. Additionally, one defense witness, Kelsey Harris, invoked her Fifth Amendment privilege, but then was extended an offer of immunity. Wow. So like the possible actual shooter. Oh, girl. This is crazy. Wow. Why didn't they run her DNA? This is nuts. Listen, I could see why some people are saying this was a setup. I'm not saying it was, but like, there's some pretty interesting things going on here. Okay. The only other possible person who could have maybe pulled if a trigger was pulled at all, because there was gunshot residue, but what about these bullet fragments? It was really bullet fragments in the feet? Bullet fragments in the feet ass bit, or was it glass? Let's read further. It was nasty in that courtroom, Zoe said. Read Wakan. Is it Jakan or Wakan? Wakan. Smith affidavit. Whoever just told me to finish a thought in the text, get off my channel. You're banned. You can never speak here again. I don't work for you. Thank you. I know. Wait till you read everything. Like, y'all just want me to be on here, like, going horse, reading words. Like, I can't come in the comments and, like, see what y'all are saying real quick or nothing without somebody cracking the whip. It's very crazy. I don't work for you. You're banned. Get out. Bye. Okay. Despite this immunity, she nonetheless faltered, pleaded lack of recollection, and otherwise avoided testifying. This allowed the state to request that the entirety of Kelsey Harris's 80-minute interview with the prosecution be played for the jury, though she contested the truth of many of the statements. So she made statements in this interview in September 2022, but then she's like, oh, but I lied. That wasn't true. That wasn't actually true. She claims she never received a copy. Oh, no. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. I don't think this is enough for a mistrial, but this is pretty bad. The defense never received a copy of the transcribed interview prior to the trial. Despite the numerous issues which cropped up throughout the trial, the matter nonetheless proceeded onward. And the court submitted the case to the jury December 22nd, 2022. The next day, he was found guilty on counts 1, 2, and 3, and finding true the great bodily injury allegations on counts 1 and 3. Defendant's sentencing hearing is scheduled to be held. Okay, this was okay, whatever. Defendant now brings this motion for a new trial. Summary. So he didn't get the new trial, as we know. So let me go to my DM. Somebody said they sent me Kaylee, apparently. Jaquan. Got it. They lost the fragments and they were never shown at trial. I'm gonna start writing down some things that I find to be interesting. That is one. Lost bullet fragments. This is reminding me of the lost DNA evidence from the Diddy trial. Or was it the lost fingerprints? Whatever it was. Remember when the LAPD just happened to lose something the same year after, and then they made a big deal about don't bring that up in court or whatever, for those that were following on Diddy. Lost bullet fragments? Okay. From Cedar Sinai? Okay. I'm starting to see the webbing. Starting to see the webbing. Okay, let me go to my GMs. Oh, okay, she said I need your email. Okay, hold on, I'm sending it. His formal ethics complaint against Sean Hawley, girl. You need to start from the very beginning of it to make sense. Watch all of Megan's lives on YouTube. Oh, girl, I'm not gonna be able to watch all of them unless they're about 5 minutes. ROC Nation tried to silence me. Tory Lanez tells the truth about Meg the Stallion. Okay. Formal ethics complaint. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this up. Wow, this is crazy. Sean Chapman Hawley, she's just the freaking lurker in the corner that keeps on giving, huh? Okay. I am making a formal complaint with the state bar against my former attorney, Sean Chapman Hawley. She was my attorney in my criminal case. She violated her duties to me from the beginning of her representation to the time she abruptly withdrew, and in so doing breached her code of professional conduct as well as California law. Her representation severely hampered my case and set me at a disadvantage, which directly led to my conviction. Her first breach of conduct was that she had a conflict of interest that she failed to disclose to me before agreeing to represent me. Whoa. Briefly on background, I am a musician, an artist that is known professionally as Tory Lanez. I was convicted in 2022 of assaulting another musician that is known by the name Megan Thee Stallion. Oh, he forgot a E, y'all. I did not commit this crime or assault or harm Megan Thee Stallion. When I was first charged with this crime, I sought out Miss Holly to defend me. I was referred to Miss Holly by my entertainment attorney as an excellent criminal defense lawyer with experience representing high profile and celebrity clients. After consulting with her, Miss Holly agreed to serve as my defense counsel. A dollar amount was agreed upon and I signed her retainer agreement. What Miss Holly failed to disclose to me was that at the time she agreed to represent me and took payment from me, she was directly involved in a business relationship with the same company that had a business relationship with the alleged victim in my case, Megan Thee Stallion. The company was ROC Nation. Sean Chapman Holly has a ROC Nation business relationship? At that time, Megan Thee Stallion was an artist signed and managed by ROC Nation. At the time of our consultation, Sean Chapman Holly was one of the principal producers of a TV show called Reasonable Doubt, a legal drama. Holy shit. Loosely based on a Sean Chapman Holly's life. In the credits of the show, she is listed as the producer of the show or a producer of the show and its legal counsel. The show, I know about this show. This is the one that all of the episodes have a Jay-Z song title. In the credits of the show, she is both listed as a producer and the legal counsel of the show. The show first premiered in September 2022, the same year and just a couple months before my trial. So she got this show. She got this show and dropped him as a client. And so the question is, did she get offered the show in the first place to drop him as a client? I'm wondering. I don't know. The show first premiered just a couple months before my trial. The owner and CEO of ROC Nation is Jay-Z. There are extensive ties between the show Reasonable Doubt, ROC Nation, and Jay-Z. The title of the show Reasonable Doubt is also the name of Jay-Z's critically acclaimed debut breakout album. And title of every episode bears the name of one of Jay-Z's biggest, let's go to the next page, songs, which Jay-Z would have to clear the songs in order to be cleared. It also has come to my attention, season 2 of the show includes music by ROC Nation artist and my accuser, Meg Thee Stallion. Apparently, Sean Chapman Holly has a daughter that is a backup singer to Beyonce. That is a very serious freaking conflict. What the hell? So, oh my God. Hey, hi. I need to hire a lawyer to defend me because I'm being accused of shooting a ROC Nation artist. You don't have any conflicts, right? Like, I don't know, like, does your daughter, for example, work for ROC Nation's, for the first lady of ROC Nation by chance? Like, what? I was completely unaware, says Tory Lanez, of the show, Reasonable Doubt, Ms. Holly's involvement in the show, or her involvement with ROC Nation at the time of the consultation, and Sean Chapman Holly never informed me at any time of her connection to ROC Nation. She had a legal and a professional duty to disclose that relationship with ROC Nation to me prior to agreeing to represent me and taking my money from me, or at some point thereafter. This conflict of interest and consequent breach of loyalty was exacerbated by the fact that the person who assisted the alleged victim, the person that assisted the alleged victim after the incident with medical care, with the police and the authorities, and who spoke with and advised witnesses. Oh my God, Desiree Perez. Oh my God, stop. The web. Stop. I couldn't even finish. Jay-Z has an album called Reasonable Doubt, first album ever that's actually about DeHaven life, not his, but that's a different story. Whoa. Roro said this attorney is who said Tory couldn't tell the court Kelsey did it. Shoo, this is crazy. The conflict of interest that Sean Chapman Hawley had was exacerbated by the fact that the person that assisted the alleged victim after the incident with medical care, police, and authorities, and who spoke with and advised witnesses and others involved in the incident with what to say to the authorities, was a person by the name of Desiree Perez, the CEO of ROC Nation. Ms. Perez apparently was even allowed to be present in the room with the police and the accuser when the accuser was being interviewed and gave other statements to the police. I have since been made aware Ms. Hawley, Sean Chapman Hawley, represented Desiree Perez and or ROC Nation or entities, private or nonprofit associate. Okay, so this is absolutely not acceptable. You have to disclose. You have to tell people. When they come to you to hire you as a lawyer, if you have ever represented the person who is on the other side or a party with an extreme interest in the other side. Now, Sean Chapman Hawley would probably say, I didn't have a conflict because this was a state case against Tory Lanez, had nothing to do with ROC Nation. A victim was, a ROC Nation artist, had nothing to do with that. I would call BS personally, but I'm sure that's what she would say. Desiree Perez was the one who coordinated with medical care and police and authorities, according to this apparent complaint to the bar about Sean Chapman Hawley. In effect, my counsel was in business with the same company that had a substantial investment with the person who was alleging I harmed her. This is a financial conflict of interest. I was aware of these relations. I was unaware. Sorry, excuse me. Tory Lanez says, I was unaware of these business relationships and these other relationships at the time I consulted with Sean Chapman Hawley. And she did not disclose these relationships to me. Instead, she assured me that she could and would represent me to the fullest. And based on that, I agreed and did pay her between $200,000 and $300,000. The last payment that was made to her was during my trial, December 2022. And on the very next day, she quit. The last time I paid her was December 22, and she quit the next day. The second breach of so she waited until she got that paycheck before she quit. The second breach of conduct is a direct result of the first. As a result of her conflict of interest, Sean Chapman Hawley did not represent me competently or diligently, and actually she worked against me. Oh my God. First, during our initial consultation and throughout the process, I told her I would not take a plea, that I was completely innocent and I was not going to accept a plea, and I would, or any plea that would imply or make it seem like I was guilty of anything. But later, Sean Chapman Hawley told my DNA expert not to perform extensive studies on the gun as to show that I never touched it. Quote, because she was going to have me take a plea. I was never going to plea. And consequently, I had no evidence to produce at trial to contradict the district attorney's assertion that it was inconclusive whether my DNA was on the gun. The absence of my DNA on the gun would have led to my acquittal. So he's saying he wanted the pew-pew, the weapon, to be absolutely 100%. He wanted to be completely extensively searched and prodded and pried to rule out that his DNA was on the gun. But instead, all they got was this little, it's inconclusive. That's fine. But he said, if I could have proven that my DNA was not on that pew-pew, then that could have acquitted me, could have led to my acquittal. He said, during the process, I was repeatedly accused of violating the protective order that was in place. The first time I was accused of, quote, rushing the stage at a Meg Thee Stallion show during the Rollin' Loud concert. At the hearing, Sean Chapman Hawley did not argue or demand the district attorney prove the incident occurred. No such proof existed because it did not happen. Cameras were everywhere, and not one camera showed me rushing a stage. I was temporarily arrested, and I had to be bailed out. The second time, I was accused of violating a protective order with a tweet that did not mention anyone's name, and only after being told by Holly the tweet did not violate the order. Again, I was temporarily arrested, and I had to be bailed out. The third time involved an incident in Chicago. I was accused there without any corroboration of violating the order, and the judge in the case said he did not see any violation, but my counsel, Sean Chapman Holly, volunteered to the judge that house arrest would be okay. And this is what she did with Lindsay Lohan, according to Lindsay Lohan's dad. And Lindsay Lohan's dad, take what he says with a grain of salt too. But it was like she actually was like not really working for Lindsay. She was actually kind of working to get her put locked up. Didn't really say, no, my client doesn't need to be in a mental hospital. She's like, yeah, it's fine. That's how it was reported. I don't know. I wasn't in the courtroom. Look it up yourself. Make your own thoughts about it. Sean Chapman, the judge said, I don't think he actually violated anything. And here's his own lawyer. Lock him up in his house anyway. It's fine. He could do that. It's fine. Holly said to the judge, house arrest would be okay. Tory Lanez said, I had specifically told her, when asked, no, I did not want house arrest. As a direct result of Sean Chapman Holly failing to defend me at previous bail hearings and for violation of the protective order, I was subsequently denied bail upon conviction pending my appeal. The court said I had too many previous violations to grant me bail, but he has done a great job laying out how those violations were kind of a result of Sean Chapman Holly not really trying that hard. I mean, look, I've already seen what it looks like whenever a lawyer's doing a real good job. Whenever they are literally going to go to hell for defending their client so hard. Like, I mean, Teeny Garagos is going to hell. She's burning for eternity in hell because of how hard she went for Diddy. So I already know what it looks like when an attorney really digs in. Sean Chapman Holly, house arrest is okay. Can y'all imagine a universe where Mark Agnifilo says, yeah, Your Honor? Yeah, put my free client on house arrest. Okay, so there's a final page. Let's pull that up. Shout out to Kaylee for sending me all this stuff. Finally, and most egregiously, she withdrew as my lawyer during the course of my trial, leaving me scrambling to find new counsel and having any new counsel's hands tied by the work that she had already done. That is powerful. That is powerful. I'm going to read that sentence again. Finally, and most egregiously, she withdrew as my lawyer during the course of my trial, leaving me scrambling to find new counsel and having any new counsel's hands already tied by the work Sean Chapman Holly had already done. Her initial reason for withdrawing was a statement from one of the witnesses that Sean Chapman Holly was trying to bribe her and affect her testimony on my behalf. This was never true. Then it became she had another trial starting during my trial in Washington, D.C. Any calendar conflict she had or was going to have, notwithstanding her business relationship with ROC Nation, should have been known long before my trial started. She should have withdrawn then. Instead, she took my money, barely offered a defense on my behalf, and then abandoned me in the middle of fighting for my life. The real reason she withdrew from my case is because she was unable to steer me into taking a plea to negligent discharge by admitting I shot the gun. I never did this. And it is my firm belief she was attempting to have me agree to this plea at the direction or urging of the people with whom she was in business with for her TV show. That would be ROC Nation. They were also in business with my accuser and had a substantial investment in her. My accuser had made numerous public appearances and statements accusing me of shooting her, and ROC Nation did not want her to be made out to be a liar and a villain. To sum it all up, Ms. Holly failed me as my lawyer. She failed to tell me up front about her extensive relationship with ROC Nation, which was directly related to the person accusing me of harming her and possibly her daughter. She failed to tell me she previously worked with the CEO of ROC Nation Records, Desiree Perez, which had a substantial investment in my accuser. She failed to tell me she had done legal work on the behalf of or with ROC Nation or entities associated with ROC Nation or principles of ROC Nation in some fashion. She failed seemingly on purpose to competently and diligently represent me. She told my DNA expert not to conduct the studies, which should have been proved, which would have proved I did not shoot the accuser. She failed to adequately defend me against allegations of violating the protective court order. And she told the court that I agreed to house arrest when I did not, aka she lied. She withdrew from my case during the middle of the trial and did so for reasons that were not true. In the end, I lost my case and I was convicted of a crime I did not commit because of the actions of Sean Chapman Hadley, whom I believe was acting either explicitly or by implication at the behest of or in the interests of ROC Nation. I want the return of the funds I paid her and the appropriate discipline to be imposed for her many breaches of professional conduct. Sincerely, Daystar Peterson. Can we say disbar? Daystar said disbar. Shout out to Kaylee. Thank you for the $1.99 pound. And thank you for sending me that bar complaint. Thank you again for the $1.99. Check your DMs. I have them all. Okay, girl, I sent you my email too. So send it to me. Thanks so much, New Life Plan, for the $4.99. Sean, it was me, Holly. Oh, Sean, it's always me. Thank you for the $4.99. And shout out to you being a member for 10 months. Okay, let me see what else she sent me in here, if it's anything else good. I mean, I'm sure it's all good, but like anything I could do here. What's this? This is police report of some guy. Okay, here, let me show y'all. My partner admonished Harris on form 1503. She responded, yes, 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 and yes, when asked if she wanted to talk about what happened. She said, I really want someone to represent me. Our investigation revealed that on July 12, 2020, approximately 4:30 hours, a physical altercation between Harris and Pete occurred. An unknown suspect fired approximately 5 rounds. Jaquan, Tory Lanez, Meg the Stallion, and the Kelsey Harris girl entered the black Escalade and fled southbound. Based on Peterson's seating position, so based on Tory Lanez's seating position and the position of the firearm, he was the last person to have constructive possession of the firearm. He was placed under arrest, carrying a concealed weapon. Did not complain of. Okay, so Smith, Peterson, and Harris did not complain of pain or injuries. But Meg the Stallion was transported to Cedars-Sinai and was treated by Dr. Lafredo for lacerations. For lacerations, not gunshot wounds. Dr. Lafredo confirmed laceration was due to stepping on glass. Wow. Officer Diaz and Officer Olivia recovered a yellow pendant and a nail and spent casings. A nail. The Dr. Lafredo confirmed it was lacerations due to stepping on glass. And you mean to tell me there's no fragments that anybody ever found? That's enough. That's all I need to know. I think I've seen enough to need a new trial. I don't think total mistrial he's free, but I've seen enough to definitely warrant a new trial. And even if that Kelsey Harris lady isn't allowed or able to be prosecuted for this, which immunity just means that you can't be prosecuted for anything you say. So the things that she has said won't be held against her. But like if there's independent evidence to prosecute her, I think they still have to prosecute her. But I'm not even sure that a shooting even happened. Where's the bullet fragments? And why is this doctor saying it was glass? Y'all, what's these umbrellas? Let me in on the umbrellas. Let me in on the umbrella, Ella. Okay, I'm seeing umbrellas. What does it mean? Oh, yes, I did want to mention this. Aria. I feel so bad for Tory, and with the recent attempt on his life, Rock Nation is terrifying. Right. During the first week of the Diddy trial, Tory Lanez got beat up in prison. Oh, that's cute. The purple umbrellas are Tory Lanez's official fan symbol. The umbrellas, that's their name. That's cute. Tory Lanez's fans are umbrellas. That's cute. I guess my fans are just my cousins. That's the cousins. the cousins are my brand, my fan brand. Okay, so let me see what else Kaylee Dunn sent me in my DMs here. What's this? Oh, it's the same thing we just looked at. It's a little bit clearer. No, whoop whoop is not for the Tory Laneses. That's the Juggalos. That's the Juggalos. That is the clown posse. They say whoop whoop. One umbrella. That's cute. Okay, shout out to the umbrellas. That's cute. Oh, there's this one has rain on it. Okay, fun. This is the same thing. A nail and some spent. What kind of nail? I want to know what kind of nail it is. The live from Tory was his only chance to speak before he was okay. So he has a live. I'm gonna watch it. The live from Tory was his only chance to speak before he was put on a gag order. Only he was put on a gag order. Megan did interviews. Oh, that's messed up. Stop it. Wait, Meg the Stallion got to go out and do interviews. She wasn't on a gag order? Hmm. Okay, here's the exhibits. This is cool. This is a cool website thing. This is streetgangs.com, girl. All 47 prosecution exhibits in Tory Lanez assault case. He's scheduled to be sentenced January 27th. So this was firearm, Sean Kelly, witness much altercation. Oh, this is good information to have. Wow. Okay, so then they wanted Meg to control the narrative. That is crazy. So like acrylic, like a tip. Shout out to the cousins in the chat. Hey, John. Yeah, she spoke to Gayle King. All roads leads to clowns. So I want to read the appeal. Tory Lanez motion for appeal. Okay. Okay, I found it. Stop it. Ryona, that's how you say your name. She said it was Kelsey's fingernail and her chain was broken as well because they were fighting. Oh my God. Ryona said they both, Megan Thee Stallion and Kelsey lied on the stand about them fighting each other, even though her nail was popped off. Y'all, in 2020, to get a nail popped off, it takes a lot. And they don't make acrylic like they used to. They like fuse that stuff to your nails now. Okay, so this is his brief. Let me do a little download because it's easier for me to do my notations and things. I like my notations. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. When is this appeal? Okay, so this was filed back in 2023. No, 24? 23. This 2023 April No, it was March 29th. This is crazy, y'all. I can't believe I haven't been. I can believe I haven't been reading it because I knew it was a crazy story like this. And I've just been busy doing like a million other things. In 2020, there was supposed to be at home, you know, the germs then they should have been outside. I mean, girl. So many things went wrong. Okay. So I finally found the appeal, thank God. Oh God, look at all of this. This is just the beginning. Okay, statement of the case. Oh my gosh, appeals are so serious. The way you have to talk in them are so serious. Okay. Oh wait, where'd it go? Ashley's like, I've been on this since it happened. He also has a writ of habeas corpus being considered. Okay, I didn't know that. I'll have to check into that. Let me write that down too. I actually totally have no problem jumping. I am a little biased. I will admit the bias. I have no problem jumping right on board with Sean Chapman. Holly probably did something wrong. I have no problem believing that. Okay. Grateful said the real reason came out in one of Demoree's videos where her mom says ROC Nation was $40 million in debt and almost went out of business. This case propelled Meg and her tour grossed exactly $40 million. Stop. Wow. Shout out to Kaylee. I think that must be the same Kaylee that sent me all this stuff. Sean Chapman Holly was working with ROC, they saying. Okay, statement of the case. Respectfully request the court take judicial notice of the transcripts, files, briefs, motions, and records in this case. On December 23rd, 2022, Tory Lanez was convicted by a jury on count 1, these pew-pew things, and causing bodily harm. He was sentenced in August 2023 to the midterm of 6 years for count 1 and an additional 4-year term for causing the bodily injury. The second enhancement was dismissed, counts 1 and 3. He received a total of a 10-year sentence. Okay, so he was convicted, count 1, 2, 3, aggravated, whatever because it was caused harm and, moving on 10 years. He filed a notice of appeal. Okay, so then he gets into the statement of facts. The following facts derived from the prosecution's case in chief. It is important to note that the defense did not directly call any witnesses. So Tory Lanez did not call any witnesses on any direct examination, but his lawyers, I'm sure, did cross-examination. He proffered just 6 pieces of evidence in support of him. July 2020 at 4:30 in the morning. Tory Lanez, his security guard, Jaquan Smith, and 2 women, Kelsey Harris and Meg the Stallion, left a party at Kylie Jenner's house. Okay, so Kylie Jenner is throwing a banger and they leave at 4:20. It's like 4:30 and they in the car. Several witnesses testified that Tory Lanez, Kelsey Harris, and Meg the Stallion consumed, quote, significant amounts of alcohol at the party. They left in the black Cadillac SUV. During the ride, an argument ensued between Tory Lanez, and Meg the Stallion and Kelsey, at which time he disclosed his physical relationships with both of them. So he just took it as a time to just come out and let them know right then and there. Meg and Pete said, let me get out of this car. Jaquan stopped the SUV in a residential neighborhood and she got out the car, walked away from the vehicle with her back to the SUV. As she was walking away, people were yelling from inside the SUV. According to her trial testimony, when she turned back around, okay, so according to her trial testimony, when she turned back around, she, quote, saw Tory Lanez pointing a pew-pew at her. She further testified that he said, quote, dance B word before firing the gun. I don't believe that happened. I just don't feel like it's not like, oh yeah, that tracks. Like when I heard Sean Chapman Holly might have been like double timing, I was like, yeah, that kind of tracks. Like I kind of feel like that's, yeah, I could see it. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. But this like dance beep with the firing the gun, I don't believe that. Because I think Megan Thee Stallion would have told that to a police on the scene. That wasn't in the report. But I don't know. Maybe he said it. I don't know. LAPD responded to the scene. Again, Hollywood division. Oh, wait, excuse me. I missed a very important 2 sentences here. Peterson, that's Tory Lanez, and Kelsey Harris ran to Megan Pete, that's Meg Thee Stallion, ran to her aid and attempted to provide her medical assistance before helping her back into the SUV. Y'all, was she just drunk and like mad and like, let me out this car, and got out and like stepped on some rocks or something and then said somebody shot her? Why would he do that? Indeed. Who's Sunstar? Audio clears that up, that it was not said. So there's audio that came out. Oh, girl. There's so much. They got a website. What's the website? Of the dad. Oh, that makes sense. Sunstar, Daystar. That's cute. I think I heard that. No, you know what? Now that I'm saying that, I think I have heard this before. Yes, Sunstar is the dad. I've heard that before. I forget stuff sometimes temporarily. Okay. So Meg Thee Stallion also testified that Tory Lanez had apologized to her and offered her $1 million to keep quiet about the shooting. LAPD responded to the scene because several 911 calls from neighbors came out. Officers en route noticed a vehicle matching the 911 call and initiated a felony detention stop of his vehicle. All passengers were commanded to exit the vehicle, and the police searched the Cadillac Escalade. They found the pew pew on the floorboard, which was later determined to be an unregistered pew pew. The owner was never determined, yet the trial attorney did reference this to be Harris's weapon. Oh, that was Kelsey's pew pew, and nobody objected? The owner of the gun was never determined, but the trial attorney did reference this to be Harris's weapon in a pretrial readiness hearing on December 5th, to which no one objected. When officers observed Megan Thee Stallion bleeding from her right foot, they questioned her about the source of the injuries, and she told officers she stepped on broken glass. So she didn't say, he told me dance, bitch. He told me pew pew. I turned around, I looked, there was a gun, arrest this maniac. She said it was broken glass. She was transported to the hospital, where she received medical treatment for bilateral injuries to her feet, which included surgery to remove bullet fragments from her feet. At the conclusion of the stop, the driver, Kelsey, and Tory Lanez were all arrested or taken into custody for further questioning. However, Lanez was the only individual arrested on suspicion of carrying a concealed firearm within a vehicle. As part of an ongoing investigation, Megan Thee Stallion was interviewed several times, including July and November 2020. In these later interviews, then she started to change her story, telling police detective Ryan Stogner she actually had been shot. It wasn't broken glass. Now, Kelsey Harris made several Instagram posts denying any involvement, and she testified that she did not shoot Meg Thee Stallion. At trial, she this Kelsey girl repeatedly responded to questions by denying any recollection. I don't recall. She repeatedly testified that she was not being truthful in her recorded statement originally, and the reason was because she was trying to, quote, protect herself. During her testimony, she also repeatedly attempted to invoke her Fifth Amendment privilege to avoid incriminating herself about anything she was not truthful about. Because of these invocations, the people, the state of California, granted her immunity and ultimately played her entire recorded interview for the jury. During cross-examination, she testified that she only agreed to meet up with prosecutors after learning that the defense intended to argue that she was the shooter. The defense was going to argue that she was the one that shot. And that is when she finally agreed to meet with the prosecutors. And she testified to this. Now, there's another person. Sean Kelly enters the chat. Who is Sean Kelly? Not to be confused with Sean Holly. Sean Kelly, a neighbor in the area, observed from his window 2 women arguing and physically fighting. Girl. It's not Daystar, it's World Star. It's World Star. He looked out his window and saw they were fighting. He testified he heard pew pew and saw a muzzle flash near one of the women. Acknowledged that he previously identified the shooter as a female. Oh my God, please. He also acknowledged that he previously stated that the shorter man ran to the shooter and attempted to take the pew pew away. At trial, however, he changed his story and claimed that the shorter man also fired the gun 4 or 5 times. So he changed his story. And that begs the question. I mean, did someone get to him? Did he have amnesia? Why did he have that recollection now? So Kelsey Harris, so the 2 women that were fighting over the man. No, excuse me. Kelsey Harris and Tory Lanez both had gunshot residue on their hands, despite the fact that both of them had gunshot residue on their hands. DNA was only taken from Tory Lanez for comparison to the firearm and magazine. Who is Kelsey Harris? I want to look at a picture of her. Let me just so I can know in my mind what she looks like. Is this her? She's pretty. Okay, so he has a type. Very pretty, like statuesque. Oh, girl. And then there was some news that came out recently. And this is where I was like, oh, maybe I do want to start covering this Tory Lanez thing because look, just to show y'all, I had seen this news. When is this from? May. So 2 months ago. Kelsey Harris's bodyguard has allegedly come forward claiming he witnessed Kelsey pew pew Meg the Stallion. It wasn't Tory Lanez. Says he stayed silent to protect her. This is Kelsey allegedly. So is the bodyguard Jaquan? Oh, she's not even 5 feet tall. She's little bitty. She has very good proportions because if she's not even 5 feet tall, she looks so like statuesque. I have those proportions too. You know, I'm only 5'3". People think I'm like 5'9". The full body cam footage shows the exact moment Meg steps on the glass when exiting the car. She opens the door, a bottle falls out, breaks, and she steps on it and starts bleeding heavily. Stop, Grateful. Where's the website somebody put it? John said Rock Nation might have went in and talked to him. I don't know. We weren't there. It's possible. Driver is Jaquan, right? Am I saying that right? That's how somebody told me to say it. I thought it was like Joaquim. Well, because like when you have the J and the A at the beginning, it could be, it could be like a French pronunciation. The witness who changed his story sold his house and left the United States for Europe. Whoa. That footage recently got unsealed. Where is the website? Where is the website? 5 foot even is very, very petite. Okay, that's little. Magically, all his debt is gone. Wow, I would like to see some evidence of this. If this is true, I might make a whole video on just that. Wait a second. Let me pull back up my little thing here. I'm reading the Tory Lanez appeal. Okay, no, she hired, it was worded wrong. They were saying 2 different drivers, 2 different bodyguards. Got it. No, she hired a bodyguard driver for when she was in court. Got it. Different driver, y'all. Different driver. Okay, so they didn't take Kelsey Harris's DNA to test it against the gun. This is one of the most, I have two like really huge points. Okay, one of them is this. Why? Like, why didn't they test her DNA? It almost seems like they don't actually want to find out who shot the person. Like, there's other stuff that I could kind of get by, you know? Sean Chapman Holly, you know, I have no problem believing that she probably did some stuff untoward or whatever, but like, there's certain investigation stuff that I'm just like, wait, hold on. Where's the bullet fragments? You mean to tell me it's up for debate whether or not she even got shot? His DNA isn't on the magazine at all. It's inconclusive on the gun. Nobody tested anybody else's DNA for the gun. But Kelsey Harris had gunshot residue on her hands, and Meg Thee Stallion said it was glass at first. And we have this witness who said it was, oh, girl. God grant me the getting away with shit that Rock Nation does. My God. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know. It showed her footprints, they said. The test results ruled Peterson out as a contributor to the DNA recovered from the magazine and were inconclusive as to the gun. So first of all, they're arguing that there was an erroneous admission of evidence. Generally, a trial court's decision to admit or exclude evidence is reviewable for abuse of discretion. A new trial is warranted when, on examination of the entire case, including the evidence, the court concludes the error complained of has resulted in a miscarriage of justice. I think it might have. I think there needs to be a new trial. The miscarriage of justice doctrine requires the appellant, that's Tory, to show that counsel properly preserved the issue and the evidence should have been excluded and the lack of excluding the evidence resulted in a miscarriage of justice. Now, we have two separate issues I want to make sure y'all keep apart here, okay? So there's evidence issues in general, but Tory Lanez could be mad that they let certain evidence in, which is what he's arguing here, and it shouldn't have never came in. Or he could be mad that he wanted some evidence in, but it wouldn't come in. So right here, we're talking about erroneous admission. Mind you, the witness story stayed the same all the way up until he spoke with the prosecutor at court. You mean on the stand? His story changed on the stand? Is that what you're saying? That is crazy, if true. Certain constitutional violations are deemed per se on their face by themselves necessarily a miscarriage of justice. A trial judge has a duty to ensure that an accused is afforded due process. A court's duty to afford every defendant in a criminal case a fair and impartial trial is of constitutional dimension. Prosecutorial misconduct. This is where that Brady violation is going to come in, I bet. A prosecutor is held to a higher standard than other attorneys because of the unique function he or she performs in representing the interests and exercising the sovereign power of the state. A prosecutor's conduct violates the 14th Amendment to the Constitution when it infects the trial with such unfairness as to make the conviction a denial of due process. And this is very hard to prove, by the way. Which is why you probably see some commentators saying the appeal is going to be denied, because this test is very difficult under the prosecutorial misconduct because see how vague it is? Prosecutors' conduct violates the 14th Amendment when it, quote, infects the trial with such unfairness as to make the conviction a denial of due process. Well, I mean, that's vague. like there's no, specific numbers. There's no specific, we need more. We need more. And remember, I told y'all earlier, like the Brady violations, like keeping evidence from the defendant, stuff like that. Some of that stuff is kind of easier to prove. Where a prosecutor's conduct does not reach the level under federal law, his conduct nevertheless constitutes misconduct under state law if it involves the use of a deceptive or reprehensible methods to persuade the court or jury. The focus of the inquiry is on the effect of the prosecutor's action, not the intent. So it doesn't even matter if they did it on purpose, okay? The focus is the effect of the action. Why? Because people deserve a fair trial. So even if it was a oopsie daisy, you still have a right to a fair trial. So it could result in a mistrial, a retrial. Tory Lanez's lawyers go on to say the miscarriage of justice standard is applicable to claims of prosecutorial misconduct, with the key consideration being whether the complained of misconduct could have contributed materially to the verdict. So this is a standard. Did the misconduct, which hasn't yet been defined, contribute materially to the verdict? So was the verdict basically depending on these prosecutors acting in a misconduct way? If they are able to show this prejudice existed, a new trial is warranted. The trial court reversibly erred in allowing testimony and evidence concerning Pete's emotions about the incident. Okay, so what are testimony and evidence about Meg the Stallion's emotions? Okay, so on its face, I think they're going to have to do some explaining. I don't know how that's so bad. Multiple times throughout the trial, Meg the Stallion was allowed to inappropriately answer questions in a narrative format, including testimony concerning irrelevant and inadmissible matters, such as her feelings regarding the circumstances of the incident in this case and its aftermath. Again, I think people are allowed to talk about their feelings, but they have specifics, so let's see. At trial, prosecutors improperly elicited testimony from Megan the Stallion on numerous subjects over defense objections. So they were objection, 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 and she was just blabbing. For example, the court overruled counsel's relevance objection to the following. Okay, so here's one example. Is Tory Lanez's lawyers were like, objection to the following, but the judge did not side with them. They sided with the prosecutors, aka also with, Meg. Why do you feel like you can't look weak up there on the witness stand? Because I want to come off as a strong woman. I don't want to give them power that I feel like they've been taking from me for the past going on 3 years. Objection, objection, Your Honor, speculation, relevance, the court. Okay, the court still allowed the following question. You said something about you feel like you couldn't tell the police everything. Something about a boys' club. Do you remember that? She said, as everybody knows at this point now that I come forward and I said I was shot and I'm shot by Tory Lanez, it feels like every man with a position of power, every man that is in a position of power in the music industry, even people who are not even rappers, they never even cared about what my side of the story was. They immediately took the side of this man and have been giving me hell for the past 3 years. Okay, I'm going to pause right there because I do want to say this does happen. There are people out here who a man could literally have women, men, children, anybody, animals, anything locked up down in his basement doing all kinds of anything to them. And there's no convincing. They don't care. They think it's fine. They think it's good. Why? Because they're that type of people too. However, that isn't to say that this is specifically, what happened in this case. But I do want to say, I don't like what she's describing either. I don't like what she's describing. And I don't like it whenever people rush to only take the side of an accuser either. That's why I tried to keep an open mind over here and say, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. All we can do is look at the evidence and the publicly available information that we do have and make our best guess. Has this still been going on? Meg said, there's not a day that goes by where somebody isn't calling me a liar or isn't shaming me for being a grown woman and having relations. This whole story has not been about the shooting. It's only about who he is having relations with, and I don't understand why that matters. Over relevance objections, she also testified that her career was bigger than Tory Lanez's and that the situation has only been worse for her, and he gained a lot of popularity as a result. Prosecutors then asked, over Tory Lanez's lawyer's objection, to explain why she feels embarrassed. She said, I'm embarrassed because I'm a grown woman hanging out with people I don't have no business hanging out with. Why can't I see when somebody is clearly bad? And now I'm going to go hang out with him. Now look at how everybody view me. During redirect and over relevance objections, the state asked Meg to describe how she felt about going under anesthesia during surgery. Why did they give her surgery if she just stepped on glass? She said she was terrified. She felt lonely when she woke up. Over relevance and scope of cross objections, the state then proceeded to elicit testimony regarding how this incident affected her personal relationships including with her then intimate partner. Because Tory Lanez has come out and told so many lies about me not being shot at all, to him not being the shooter and making this all about a SEX scandal, people don't even want to touch me. Like my peers, nobody wants to be associated with me. I feel like I'm a sick bird, and I don't touch that one because we don't want to be associated with the sick bird and all her drama. Ever since this whole story, this whole shooting, I started to become depressed. So I'm not being the best version of myself I could be. So I feel like me being sad all the time, it started to affect the way I was having interactions with my partner. And in the media all the time, it's hard to see your girlfriend be accused of being shamed for having sex with people. Okay, all this is fine. I think this is fine. I don't see an issue with this so far. This specific quote. At long last, the trial court finally sustained counsel's speculation objection, striking everything after in the media. I think you even mentioned that this is a question. I think you even mentioned you got a lot of heat. You got a lot of accusations. That was what prompted you to do this, right? Have you still been getting them up until today? Still been getting them up until today? She said, yes, every day I see something new. Meg should have got shot in the head. Or, oh, the B word twerked too much. They shoulda, he shoulda unalived her. Which is messed up. If people are saying that, that's very messed up. That's messed up. You can't be out here saying that. The court sustained the defense objection and struck everything after yes every day. Yes, every day. The court then overruled the counsel's relevance objection to the following question, inexplicably allowing Megan Thee Stallion to restate the testimony that had just been stricken. What are some of the things that you were seeing, and how did that affect how you felt about coming into court today? Meg should have been pew pew and unalived. I would have shot that bee too. That bee lying. Ho's always doing stuff like this. Who cares? She F everybody. She should have been pew pew. Which is messed up. People shouldn't say stuff like that. That's different than she's a liar. Okay, like you could say somebody's a liar, but she should have been pew pew in the head. Come on. Over objections for lack of foundation. Okay. Over objection, she testified she regretted coming forward. Well, I bet she does regret blaming him for shooting her, especially in 2025. I bet the regret has grown stronger. I don't know. Maybe, for me, it would help a lot to have a bullet fragment, to have an x-ray, to have some evidence so I could see that a shooting even happened. Because if a shooting didn't even happen, then it don't actually matter who did the shooting. But somehow a shooting happened because people had gunshot residue on their hands. I don't know. If I would have known that coming out and speaking my truth would come with people agreeing with me being shot, if I would have known that, I would have started to lose my confidence, lose my friends, lose myself. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want to come on about it in the first place. I didn't want to come out about it in the first place. I started to feel like, damn, maybe I should be unalive. I got to watch Tory Lanez drop music videos, chopping up horse legs, and people laughing at it like that's okay. And listen, you know a tree by the fruit it bears, I'll say. Okay, so then they get into saying that the trial court abused its testimony and abused its discretion overruling objections to the testimony, saying it goes to her state of mind. How a vast and diverse third-party group allegedly treated Pete once she made allegations against Tory Lanez has exactly. Okay, this is good. I like that they're saying this because I agree. Remember earlier whenever I was like, they're setting some precedents with this Milagro person that I don't think is good for anybody. How a vast and diverse third-party group, so the people on the internet, allegedly treated Meg Thee Stallion once she made allegations against Tory Lanez has no bearing on his guilt. The fact that these random third parties called Megan Thee Stallion a liar or sex shamed her daily likewise has absolutely no bearing on what Peterson did that night. Tory Lanez. Megan was able to testify to collateral wrongful acts of third parties which cannot be reasonably imputed to Tory Lanez. Second, she testified as to improper character evidence by opining that he is clearly bad. Third, one theme remains: irrelevant and prejudicial testimony, eliciting sympathy for the victim. She testified how third parties have harassed and shamed her, how she feels like she's being painted as a villain. This incident has impacted her career, her relationships, and her mental health. She felt certain ways while undergoing surgery and how she regretted coming forward. But sympathy for the victim is out of place during objective determination of guilt. Fifth, the objections were overruled and no limiting instruction was given. Jurors were then left with the belief that the victim's feelings were relevant to determining guilt or innocence. This is interesting. I am starting to get a little tired though. Thanks so much to TT Marie for the $10. Shout out to the cousins from Louisiana. Somebody send me Kaylee. Kaylee said she provided, look, I was just about to ask you, can you email me the website? Somebody was saying you got to look at the website. Send me the website. I'll stay on this story. Shout out to whoever it was that was like, are you going to cover Tory Lanez like 2 hours ago whenever I was getting off of this website? I'm tired. These lights are bright. My head hurts and my throat hurts. So I'm going to go take a little breaky break, but I'll be back with this or something else, soon, maybe tomorrow. Kaylee said in trial, she made a lot of allegations, which were proven to be untrue as well. I'll be going through it. I'm going to watch the one live stream that Tory Lanez did do. And I will try to, just get up to date on the story. I won't say back up to date because I never did cover the story. And now I'm realizing that the reason why I didn't cover it in the beginning is because when it started, I was just now starting online and I was like totally enraptured by the Free Britney movement. When all of this really started, I was like, I think still in law school. So, wow, that's crazy. 36 hours later, .ckm or com is 36hourslater.com a typo. The second doctor was affiliated with ROC Nation. And that's making me wonder, about this Dr. Bober, circling back to the beginning of the live stream, Dr. Bober with the Demoree Hadley, wasn't he affiliated some way, somehow, or hired by Desiree? The song was about beef and the video was in the butchers. Girl, that's nasty. I don't want to look at the butchers. It's nasty in there. Anyway, okay, that's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, neither are opinions. I don't know anything. I wasn't there. I didn't even know how to spell the man's name earlier. Okay, so I don't know anything. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.